Chapter 257. Gu Lingqing, I asked you to sign the agreement and marry Zhou Hailan because I don't want you to pester me anymore. I really have a hard time being with Su Jiran. If you still have a little bit of pity for me, please let me go. Bai Yi said in a low voice with a pleading tone. A crack appeared in Gu Lingqing's eyes, and he showed a painful expression without reservation. Seeing him in pain, her heart hurt even more, as if it had been dug out, leaving only a hole. She knew that her character was very problematic. She was silent, cold and indifferent, not sunny, not positive, with a strong sense of defense, and liked to get into a dead end. What did she do to deserve Gu Lingqing's love? She had no regrets in her life. Even if she died, she would die with the warmth he gave her. She was satisfied. From the beginning to the end, God had never been kind to her. Perhaps the greatest kindness she had done was to let go of Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing was really a good person. He was brave, responsible, and full of a sense of justice. He deserved better. Let me ask you one last question. Have you ever loved me? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. He was not calm. He tightened his jaw, stared at her with flames in his eyes, and clenched his fists tightly. No. Bai Yi said clearly. Gu Lingqing stared at her, and his flames became cold, as if the coldness of December was covering. In the sky of ice and fire. Bai Yi, I will ask you one more time. Think carefully and answer me. Otherwise, no matter whether you really saved me and made a deal with Su Jiran or not, I will never forgive you. Think carefully. Gu Lingqing was not calm, and his breathing was uneven. Bai Yi raised her chin and made a decision. She looked at his cold eyes and said coldly, I don't care whether you forgive me or not. Gu Lingqing lowered his hand and smashed the vase next to him on the ground. The vase hit the ground with a bang. Bai Yi's eyes did not even waver. Qing Jinrong heard the noise outside and opened the door worriedly. Gu Lingqing pushed Qing Jinrong away with great strength and strode out. She knew that from today on, she had lost the person she loved the most and the person who loved her the most. Tears finally rolled down her cheeks. What's wrong? Qing Jinrong asked with concern. Bai Yi looked in the direction where Gu Lingqing had disappeared. I love him. I love him very much. The corners of her mouth twitched, and she smiled bitterly as she picked up the notebook from the floor. Then, she turned around and walked into her room. Qing Jinrong stayed in the living room, confused. Women, even if they knew that they had made the right choice, they would still feel sad. That kind of sadness was overwhelming, like a flood, almost drowning her. She could only wail bitterly. She wanted to smash something to vent her anger, so she clenched her fists tightly. She knew that she was not in the right state, but she could not control herself at all. He had the urge to smash something. She tried her best to hug her head and squat on the floor, but she still could not control the anger that came from her heart and rushed straight to her brain. She did not want to be a lunatic. Who could help her? They did not need to save her life, they just needed to give her a clear mind. Ah! She screamed, looking at the heavens pleadingly. Unfortunately, the heavens did not let her go. Qing Jinrong heard Bai Yi's screams. Then, there was the sound of things being thrown and smashed in the room. He knocked on the door worriedly. Bai Yi, are you okay? Bai Yi opened the door and stood at the door, looking at Qing Jinrong coldly. Qing Jinrong looked at the mess in the room and looked at Bai Yi in surprise. All the compensation is on me. I have something to do now, lend me your phone for a while, Bai Yi said calmly. Qing Jinrong felt that the current Bai Yi was a little strange. It was indescribably weird, so he passed the phone to Bai Yi. Bai Yi skillfully dialed a set of numbers. Gu Lingqing picked up and said angrily, What is it? Listen up, I sent you that notebook. You lost some of your memories, so I'll give it to you. When Governor Cheng was assassinated, Su Jing suspected that you were the culprit because your father asked Governor Cheng for a piece of land. Su Jing used this to threaten you to marry Su Shaoling. You and Bai Ye went to Tangqian village and found Tang Xiaojiu. Before Tang Xiaojiu was assassinated, he gave the video of him assassinating Governor Cheng to Bai Ye. You and Bai Ye promised Tang Xiaojiu to help him find the culprit. But I think that Bai Ye was just helping you clear your name. Finding the culprit is your business. The address of the treasure map is written on the notebook. Come and take the notebook. From now on, leave Bai Ye's world. Maybe she can live a little longer. Gu Lingqing listened to Bai Ye's voice and asked in surprise, "Who are you?" Bai Ye's lips twitched. "I'm the person who protects Bai Ye. In the future, none of you can think about hurting her." After Bai Ye said that, he hung up. Qing Jinrong looked at Bai Ye in surprise. "What's wrong with you? Why? Why does it feel like it's another person?" Bai Ye continued Qing Jinrong's sentence. "You said that you're the person who protects Bai Ye," Qing Jinrong voiced out his opinion. "I guess so. Self-protection. Is there a problem with that?" Bai Ye asked. Qing Jinrong was actually speechless. He had seen a movie called Deadly ID before. It was about a split personality. When a person had a split personality, they couldn't remember what happened. However, a person with a split personality could remember everything clearly. "I'm going to wash my face," Bai Ye said. She returned the phone to Qing Jinrong and closed the door. She walked into the bathroom and washed her face. She looked at her anxiously in the mirror and tapped her fingers on the sink. "Bai Ye, have a good rest. You won't feel pain, despair, sadness, and helplessness anymore. Leave the rest to me. I will do everything you want me to do. According to your wish, I'll leave with you 3 months later. Don't worry. No one in this world can protect you or be your support. I'll protect you and I'll never leave you." Knock, knock, knock. There was an anxious knock on the door from outside. Bai Ye looked at the door and curled her lips. She opened the door and went out. Gu Lingqing rushed in and held Bai Ye's shoulder. He said excitedly, "What did you mean by what you said just now?" Bai Ye passed the notebook in her hand to him. "Do what you have to do. Also, please return my bag to me. You lost the bag. Do you want to go back now?" Chapter 258. Bai Ye stared at Gu Lingqing and raised his chin. His gaze was cold and calm. It was as if he was talking about someone else's business. Su Jiran is the source of Bai Ye's pain. How can it be love? Similarly, you are also the source of Bai Ye's pain. So, there's no need to see each other again, Bai Ye said coldly. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes and scrutinized Bai Ye. "Did you make a deal with Su Jiran? Aren't you very smart? Go investigate it yourself. But I suggest that you stop here. There's no benefit for you if you continue to investigate. It'll only bring you pain." Bai Ye's lips twitched. He was exceptionally cold. Gu Lingqing stood there without saying anything. The atmosphere suddenly became cold. Qing Jinrong cleared his throat and said to Gu Lingqing, "Well, let me send you down. Don't forget to return my bag to me," Bai Ye reminded him. Gu Lingqing glanced at her and went out. Qing Jinrong followed behind him. "Well, can I talk to you for a while?" Gu Lingqing turned around and looked at Qing Jinrong. He stayed silent and waited for him to speak. "There's a detail that I want to tell you. When you left, Bai Ye told me that she loved you. She loved you very, very much. Then, she was in a very bad state of mind. When she entered the room, I heard the sound of her smashing things and crying. Then, it evolved into helpless whimpers. I was worried about her, so I knocked on the door. She opened the door as if she had become a different person. I suspect that she has a split personality. Qing Jinrong voiced his thoughts. Gu Lingqing recalled the medicine that Bai Ye had been taking. She had always had a mental problem. He remembered that once, when she thought that he was with Zhou Hailan, she also smashed things. What Bai Ye said to him today was indeed very strange. She addressed Bai Ye as Bai Ye, as if she was no longer Bai Ye. Moreover, what she revealed confirmed his speculation that Bai Ye had really made a deal with Su Jiran. Was the deal for her to go to Su Jiran's side? Gu Lingqing's Adam's apple bobbed up and down. His eyes were filled with pity for Bai Ye. Let me ask you. Do you want to buy that piece of land because you think there are treasures under it? Gu Lingqing asked directly. Qing Jinrong paused. He had overheard the conversation between Bai Ye and Gu Lingqing. They were talking about the treasure. He felt that the two things were related. Now that the land had been expropriated by the military, he had nothing to hide. Yes, my ex-girlfriend's father is in the field of ancient geology. He told me that there is treasure under that piece of land and asked me to buy it, Qing Jinrong explained. Then, where is your current girlfriend's father? Gu Lingqing continued to ask. Last week, my ex-girlfriend was killed. Because I was part of the reason, my uncle chose to leave. I don't know where he is now. Qing Jinrong said gloomily. Suddenly, he recalled something. Oh, can I take a look at the diary that Bai Ye gave you? Gu Lingqing passed the diary to Qing Jinrong. Qing Jinrong flipped through a few pages. It is indeed my uncle's diary. Could it be that he gave it to Bai Ye to thank her for solving the case? Do you still remember when Bai Ye solved the case? Gu Lingqing asked as if the truth was about to be revealed. Just a few days ago. The day she came to Jinyuan City, my ex-girlfriend was killed. The next day, she solved the case. The next day, when I went to pick her up, she was in a bad mood. She insisted on going to the land. After confirming that it had been expropriated, she kept crying while looking out the window. I asked her what happened, but she refused to tell me. She only said that she was going to the police station. She even threw her phone away and changed her phone number, Qing Jinrong said. He understood now. He was taken away by the Special Discipline Inspection Team on the same day that Bai Ye left Jinyuan City. It should be the next day, when Su Jiran threatened Bai Ye. Bai Ye solved the case and got the real address of the treasure. She rushed back on the same day that she solved the case. She met him in the wee hours of the morning and asked for a divorce. The next day, he was released. Bai Ye's conversation with him at the beginning was to test if he could come out. When she was sure that he could not come out, she must be very desperate. That was why she decided to make a deal with Su Jiran. If he guessed correctly, Bai Ye's deal was to marry him and let him marry Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing wanted to talk to Bai Ye. He would not marry Zhou Hailan. Even if they signed the agreement, he would not get a marriage certificate. Qing Jinrong stood in front of Gu Lingqing and suggested, she is no longer the Bai Ye from before. I suggest you ask her about the situation first. The more you force her, the more she will resist. I know that a very good psychologist will be coming from America for a seminar. Do you want to know more about it? Gu Lingqing stopped in his tracks. He lowered his gaze and looked at Qing Jinrong. Give me that expert's phone number first. I don't have it, but I can ask my friend for it. What's your number? I'll send it to you when I get it. Also, Bai Ye is staying with me now. If anything happens, I can call you, Qing Jinrong said warmly. Thank you, Gu Lingqing said sincerely. Qing Jinrong smiled. I didn't cherish her in the past. That's why my girlfriend died. I think you love each other. I hope you can be together. Thank you. Gu Lingqing stayed in a hotel nearby using a virtual ID. At 10:00 in the evening, he got Su Changhe, Mike's contact information and called him. Hello, I want to ask you about dissociative identity disorder. Is it convenient for you now? Gu Lingqing asked directly. If it's a consultation, I need to make an appointment. I'm sorry, Su Changhe rejected politely. I only need to consult you over the phone. I'll pay you double the usual fee. Give me your account number. I'll transfer the fee to you for an hour. Su Changhe paused. Then you can consult me first. I'll collect the fee after the consultation. My friend has dissociative identity disorder. I want to understand the condition, cause, and treatment in detail, Gu Lingqing said. There are many reasons for dissociative identity disorder. Most people are autistic, irritable, depressed, and anxious. At the same time, they have low self-esteem and are timid. They envy others and want to be like them. Under certain circumstances or factors, their personality changes drastically and they become like another person. This kind of mental illness is different from pretending. The person doesn't remember what happened after the dissociative identity disorder, but the person with the dissociative identity disorder remembers what happened before, Su Changhe explained. Chapter 259. Junior Sister. Baiya flashed across Gu Lingqing's mind. Yes. The general meaning of her paper is that many mental illnesses originate from pain. Mental patients use various emotions and symptoms to vent this pain, such as grumpiness, smashing things, self-harm, hurting others, dementia, forgetfulness, and even split personality. If a mental patient can forget the pain of the past, although they will lose part of their memory, they will slowly recover and live a normal life. She is committed to hypnosis to let the mental patients forget the source of the pain of the past. She has cured many deep mental patients. You can try it with her. She is very famous in the industry. Su Changhe recommended. Split personality is a split personality that comes from feeling pain. Hypnosis may not work. What should I do? Gu Lingqing asked gloomily. My junior sister once treated a patient with a split personality. Through hypnosis, she found the true self hidden inside, escaping from reality and pain. She can talk to the hidden self and guide it. You can try it with her. What's her name? Gu Lingqing asked. Baiya. I'll give you her number later. Su Changhe said warmly. Gu Lingqing's heart sank to the bottom. He felt the taste of despair. What if the psychiatrist herself has split personality? What should I do? Is it more difficult to cure a psychiatrist's split personality? Gu Lingqing was worried. Well, I haven't encountered such a case yet. But my junior sister tried to hypnotize herself, but she failed. She said that because she is a psychiatrist, she can use psychological suggestions. So it's difficult to succeed. If a person with split personality is a psychiatrist, it will indeed be more difficult. I'll give you my junior sister's number later. You can consult her. She is better at this than I am. Su Changhe said modestly. Okay, I got it. Thank you. You can see how much money you need. I'll transfer it to your account. Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked forward. I can't help you. I don't need the consultation fee. I have a seminar in Sitia next Sunday. You can come. I'll send you the address. Su Changhe smiled. Okay, send it to me. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone. He walked to the window and looked in the direction of Qing Jinrong's house, his eyes as dark as ink. She went to Su Jiran's side and took his place. It was too painful, so she chose to escape. Even if she gave up on him, he would never give up on her again. Early the next morning Gu Lingqing went to Qing Jinrong's house and knocked on the door. When Qing Jinrong opened the door and saw Gu Lingqing, he smiled and reminded, "She still hasn't woken up. I'm going to work now. I bought her breakfast and put it on the dining table. It might be cold by the time she wakes up." "I'll take care of him," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Qing Jinrong patted Gu Lingqing's shoulder and left the room. Gu Lingqing sat on the sofa and searched for many things he wanted to know on Baidu. However, because the things he wanted to know were very obscure, there were very few people who knew about it. Even if someone answered him, it was just the tip of the iceberg. There were very few experts in the field of mental health. Baiyu slept until noon before she got up. After she got up, she brushed her teeth, washed her face, changed into bright clothes and came out of the room. When she saw Gu Lingqing, she was slightly stunned and smiled. "You're looking for me. I've brought your bag here. Also, I want you to know that I've lost part of my memory. You're an expert in psychology. I want you to help me get my memory back. How much do you need? Name a price." Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. "Your memory loss might be due to the damage to your neurons. To put it bluntly, it's a hardware problem, not a mental problem. You need to see a neurologist." Baiyu saw her bag on the sofa, picked it up and took out her phone. Her phone was switched off. "I've seen a neurologist. There's no problem with it. What I need is mental treatment. Please, help me," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. His deep eyes were watery. Baiyu looked at him and was silent for 3 seconds. "I've already accepted the job of treating LV Xingzhou's son. I know it's Monday to Friday. I have Saturday and Sunday. I can wait." Gu Lingqing interrupted her. Baiyu paused. "Is this entanglement?" "It's protection," Gu Lingqing corrected her. Baiyu was stunned for a moment. Her eyes were covered with a foggy veil. "Let me think about it." "All right." Gu Lingqing stood up. "I'll treat you to a meal first." "I have money for a meal." "Sorry, there's no need for a meal. I still have things to do. I won't be sending you off," Baiyu said coldly. Gu Lingqing's Adam's apple moved. He swallowed hard. "I hope you know one thing. Even if the whole world abandons you, I won't. If it's tiring, I'll wait for you forever. A month, a year, a lifetime." There was a strange look in Baiyu's eyes. She watched as Gu Lingqing turned around and walked out of the room. She lowered her eyes and placed her hand over her heart. She muttered to herself, "You feel pain, don't you? A lifetime. It's a pity that you won't live for even a year. I won't drag him down. Don't worry." Baiyu released her hand from her heart. Her eyes were moist. She switched on her phone. His phone was buzzing with incoming call notifications. She dialed Su Jiran's number without looking at any messages. "Where are you? Do you want to die?" Su Jiran roared angrily. "I'm in Jinyuan City now. I came here on foot. Do you believe me?" Baiyu said calmly. "From now on, I won't allow you to turn off your phone. I won't allow you to ignore my calls. When I want to see you, you have to come and see me. Do you hear me?" Su Jiran ordered anxiously. Baiyu smiled. She didn't care about his anger and order at all. "Su Jiran, I miss you. Can you come to Jinyuan City to see me today?" Su Jiran was stunned. "What did you say? You miss me?" "Yeah, I've been thinking a lot these days. From you appearing at my school gate, giving me flowers, helping me find a job, taking my mother out of the sanatorium, marrying me, to your betrayal, making me give up, and your protection in the past 3 years, I want to fall in love with you again, but I don't want to be with you. Baiya said calmly. Is what you said true or false? Su Jiran couldn't believe it. If you believe it, it's true. If you don't believe it, it's false. Whether it's true or false, it's up to you to feel it. I'll do what I think is right. Baiya's lips curled up slightly. Her eyes were as cold as frost. Chapter 260. Baiya went to Jinyuan City's shopping mall and bought some clothes, cosmetics, and a new bag. Expensive clothes, exquisite makeup, and a business card bag. Even if she appeared in a hotel, she would still attract the attention of countless people. She sent the hotel room number to Su Jiran and called LV Xingzhou. Governor LV, I'm Baiya. I'm sorry to have delayed it for so many days. I'll be free from this afternoon onwards. Is it convenient for me to go to your house this afternoon? Baiya asked politely. Yes, hurry up, my child. LV Xingzhou paused. My child's mother can't control him anymore. He's now trying to commit suicide at home. Okay, send me the address, I'll go over now. Baiya smiled and left with her bag. Inside the bag were medicine and a baton. Within half an hour, she appeared at LV Xingzhou's house. LV Xingzhou wasn't at home, so her housekeeper opened the door. Hello, I'm the private tutor hired by Governor LV, Baiya smiled. When LV Xingzhou's wife heard that the private tutor was here, she quickly looked towards the door. She knew that LV Xingzhou had hired a psychologist to pretend to be a private tutor. Teacher Bai, right? Come in quickly. My child is on a hunger strike, he hasn't eaten for 2 days, and the door is not open. I'm really worried that something might happen to him. LV Xingzhou's wife said worriedly. Baiya changed into the slippers given by the housekeeper and entered the room. She walked to the door and knocked. Get lost, I don't want to see anyone, I don't want to eat any food. If you keep me captive, I'll just die. LV Biao clamored. Teacher Bai, look at my child, what should I do? LV Xingzhou's wife was so anxious that her tears were about to fall. Can I trouble you to go to the kitchen and bring me the food? Baiya said to LV Xingzhou's wife. LV Xingzhou's wife looked at Baiya with hope. Baiya nodded her head, signaling her to leave. LV Xingzhou's wife had no choice but to follow the nanny into the kitchen. Baiya knocked on the door and said softly, Your mother has left. I'm the new tutor. Perhaps, I'll be the only one who will spend the rest of your life with me. Do you want to be alone in the room, or do you want a strange woman to accompany you? After Baiya finished speaking, LV Biao opened the door and looked at Baiya. There was a flash of amazement in his eyes, and it was as if there was a ferocious beast in his body. He swallowed his saliva. Baiya smiled. You're quite sensible. You are my tutor. Lu Biao stuttered. Baiya saw that his hands were trembling. His gaze was fixed on her, and the corners of his lips were slightly upturned. This was not nervousness, but the excitement of seeing prey. Even a certain part of him had a physiological reaction. He was an evil spirit that was in the process of growing up. Let me tell you, I'm not just a tutor. I'm a police officer. The police station sent me here to observe you, but I think you're quite obedient. They must have misunderstood you. Behave well, I still have to report you every day, Baiya said gently. Fear flashed in LV Biao's excited eyes. You're a police officer. Baiya nodded. But, be good. I'll apply to bring you out to play if there's a chance. LV Biao's eyes dimmed. Oh, then I'll be good. Baiya looked at the messy desk and casually flipped through the books on it. The books on the desk were not only for class, but there were also many erotic magazines and sci-fi novels. She looked at LV Biao from the corner of her eyes. LV Biao stared at her back, his brows furrowed and his fists clenched, restraining his impulses. Baiyi turned around, leaned against the desk and looked at him. LV Biao was shocked and let go of his fists. What class do you want to have first? Baiyi squinted at him. This child had a high IQ and was very defensive. He was a rational psychopath. Every crime he committed was upgraded, and he was very good at judging the situation. His first reaction when he saw her was excitement. He hadn't committed a crime for a long time, and the desire to commit a crime made every cell in his body clamor. When she said that she was a police officer, sent by the police station, and had to report every day, he knew that he couldn't do anything to her. That excitement disappeared without a trace. When she turned her back to him, he had an impulse again, but he controlled it rationally. She was facing him, and that impulse disappeared completely. According to a psychological study, if you put a wallet on a table and there was no one near the table, 10% of people would definitely take the wallet, 10% of people would definitely not take the wallet, and 80% of people weren't sure if they would take the wallet. Therefore, most crimes were committed by the victim who gave the criminal the opportunity to commit the crime. Women who were afraid of being raped had better not wear revealing clothes. Women who were afraid of being robbed had better not show their wealth. Women who were afraid of being killed had better not do things that would make others angry. Therefore, even though she knew that LV Biao was an extremely dangerous criminal, she couldn't leave her back to him. What's your favorite class? Baiyi asked. Biology, LV Biao answered without thinking. Baiyi flipped through a biology book and saw that it was filled with his notes. You want to be a doctor? LV Biao paused, lowered his head and replied, yes. Actually, being a forensic doctor is quite good. Ordinary people study the structure of the human body, and if they kill someone, they will pay with their life. Before they can study it thoroughly, they will be sent to prison and die in vain. Forensic doctors are different. In university, they can study anatomy. Not only can they dissect animals, but they can also dissect humans. It's very interesting, Baiyi said. You also think that dissecting is interesting? LV Biao asked excitedly. Of course. Think about it, study the structure of the human body, and explore the mysteries of nature. Perhaps the future is in my hands. Baiyi smiled and sat on the chair. His fingers rhythmically tapped on the table. Actually, what I want to analyze the most is the human brain. Why do humans have memories? Why do they think? Why do they have so many emotions? What is the structure of the brain? Can these things be connected to the universe? LV Biao got more excited as he spoke. If we understand the structure of the human brain, we might be able to create countless superhumans. This world will become completely different. Baiyi cooperated with LV Biao and said. Yes, yes. Why do humans act impulsively? Why do they want to mate? Why do they fall in love? Why do they stop loving each other? Why are some people smart and some stupid? If we know all these, humans will take a big step forward. You will become the savior of this world. Your existence will be recorded in all the history books. Your success is unprecedented, and no one will be able to surpass you in the future, Baiyi praised. Yes, yes, yes. I want to become that kind of person. LV Biao's eyes were shining. Baiyi smiled. Chapter 261. The grand debut of the war without gunpowder. So, Baiyi picked up the biology book and waved it in front of him. If you want to become that kind of person, you have to study hard. Only by getting into a university can you get in touch with higher education and learn more knowledge. What do you think? Are you using this method to motivate me to study? LV Biao's eyes dimmed. To be precise, it's to help you find the right way to fulfill your wish. Moreover, it's legal. You don't want to die before achieving your goal, right? Baiya said with a smile. Then do you think studying hard will lead to that day? LV Biao was confused. You don't have confidence in yourself. In my eyes, everything is possible as long as you put in the effort. Also, I happen to know a forensic doctor. I can arrange for her to give you a private lesson. Baiya put down the biology book. Really? When will it be? I can't wait to go, LV Biao said excitedly. That will depend on your performance. I will apply to let you go back to school. You guys will have a monthly exam. I want you to be in the top 10. Also, if the teacher approves of you, I will bring you there, Baiya stated her conditions. You will let me go? LV Biao was surprised. Why not? What you did, in my eyes, was just your exploration of knowledge. However, your exploration method is wrong. You don't have a good teacher to guide you, so you are walking on the edge of the law. Luckily, I made it in time. Otherwise, a future great man might have gone to prison early and regrettably missed success. Baiya looked at LV Biao with a burning gaze. LV Biao said. You really think so? LV Biao examined Baiya's expression. Don't you think you are a genius? Baiya asked back. I think so too. I can't communicate with those idiots normally. I want to do things that they don't dare to do to prove my judgment. Last time, I raped a girl, and they thought she was the prettiest girl in school. She had high standards, and after I raped her, she still asked my dad for $1 million. Lu Biao said disdainfully. You have proved to many people that you are just a motley crew. What's the point? Study hard and prove to the world that you are the master. That is the great thing, right? Baiya guided. You have proven to many people that you are just a mob. Yes, you're absolutely right. I'll start studying hard right now, Lu Biao said excitedly. I believe in you, so I'll talk to your mother later and ask you to go to school tomorrow. I'll pick you up from school and tutor you at night. If you're in the top 10 of the monthly exams, I'll take you to see a real anatomy. I guarantee that it's something your childhood friends won't be able to see. Therefore, it is beyond their reach. N. Thank you. You are the teacher I acknowledge. If I succeed in the future, I will never forget your guidance. LV Biao seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. All the cells in his body were clamoring with excitement. Read your book first. I'll go out and talk to your mother for a while. Baiya stood up and walked out the door. Teacher Bai, has Xiao Biao eaten? LV Xingzhou's mother asked worriedly. Baiya pushed open the door and said to LV Biao, eat first. Only when you're full will you have the strength to study. The body is the capital of revolution. Okay, LV Biao replied obediently. LV Xingzhou's wife looked at Baiya in astonishment. This was too amazing. A naughty, willful, and rebellious child, no one could control him. This Dr. Bai just met him for a while and he was already so obedient. Bring it in to the young master, LV Xingzhou's wife ordered the nanny. Mrs. Liu, is it convenient for us to talk alone? Baiya invited. Sure, come to my room. LV Xingzhou's wife looked at Baiya in a new light and was especially friendly. Baiya followed LV Xingzhou's wife into the room and went straight to the point. I hope to let LV Biao go to school tomorrow. I'll pick him up every day and tutor him at night. That won't do. LV Xingzhou's wife panicked. LV Biao's personality is a bit violent. It won't be good if he hurts his classmates in school. If even his own mother doesn't believe that he will change, then what motivation does he have to gain the approval of others? Baiya retorted, his words sharp and cold. LV Biao's mother immediately felt ashamed. Is it really okay for him to go to school? There won't be a problem. Send him to school as usual tomorrow, Baiya promised. Alright then. He's locked up at home and goes on a hunger strike every now and then. I can't control him anymore, LV Xingzhou's wife sighed. Baiya nodded and left LV Xingzhou's wife's room to go to LV Biao's room. LV Biao was memorizing English words while reading a book. Baiya sat opposite him and asked, "Think about it. What will you encounter when you go to school tomorrow? My classmates will definitely be very afraid of me. Even the teachers and headmasters won't dare to provoke me. They will even talk behind my back. Who knows, there might even be people who provoke me." LV Biao said indifferently. Then what do you think? Baiya asked. A bunch of idiots. I used to want to prove something to these idiots, but I don't want to anymore. I want to prove to the whole world that I am the ruler, LV Biao said suddenly. The world that is ruled is actually very lonely. Let me give you a suggestion. What you want to become is a savior. That way, everyone will worship you, look up to you, praise you, unable to surpass you and revere you. Even the places that you walk through will be worshipped by the people. That way is the most awesome, Baiya said with a smile. His fingers lightly tapped on the table. Yes, you're right. You're the only person who can communicate with me. You're like the beacon of light in my life, LV Biao agreed. Before achieving your wish, what we need to do now is to study. Read your book first. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask me. Amen. While LV Biao was reading, Baiya was also reading. After all, she had forgotten a lot of content from high school. Only by consolidating and revising would she have the ability to teach others. Time passed in silence. Suddenly, Baiya's phone rang. When she saw that it was Su Jiran, she walked out of the room to answer the call. I'll reach Jinyuan City in half an hour. Are you coming to pick me up? Su Jiran asked. I'm currently at a student's house. I'll come over now. See you later. I'll treat you to a meal, Baiya said with a smile. Su Jiran paused. Her current state was completely different from what he had imagined. He had thought that she would be angry, pessimistic, and hateful towards him. See you later then. Baiya hung up the phone and bade farewell to LV Xingzhou's wife. She went to the pharmacy to buy some red medicine and applied a few drops on a sanitary pad. After pasting it on, she went to the train station to pick up Su Jiran. He was dressed in a light blue suit, and his hair had been specially styled. It was slightly curled and tipped up, and he had even dyed it maroon red. It looked damp and youthful, and it set off his beautiful face even more seductive. The corner of Baiya's mouth curled up. Her eyes were incomparably cold. Chapter 262. Su Jiran walked up to Baiya and looked at her delicate face. She had put on makeup, and her already beautiful facial features were dazzling under the makeup. The corners of her mouth were curled up, and she looked extremely charming. That kind of charm was not just from the makeup, but from her very bones. Su Jiran's heart felt as if it had been struck by something, causing ripples to form in his heart. I'm surprised that you came to pick me up, Su Jiran said as he looked at her. This shouldn't be the only thing that surprised you. Just get used to it. Let's go, I'll treat you to dinner. The Savant's restaurant here is the most famous, and the local food is pretty good. I've made a reservation. Baiya turned around. He held her waist and pulled her to his side. Baiya looked at him and met his devilish eyes. She pursed her lips and said, Commander Su, are you very particular about formality? You're my woman, Su Jiran said in a deep voice, as if he was scrutinizing something. Baiya shrugged, not letting him see what she was thinking, and turned her face away. If I were a 20-year-old girl, I'd like this kind of formality. Unfortunately, I'm almost 30, and it's better not to be mushy. As long as I like it, I can't control others, Su Jiran said domineeringly. He hugged her even tighter like a pair of iron pincers, not letting her break free. She also knew that she could not break free, so she simply leaned all her strength on him. She stood in the most comfortable position, and they walked to the waiting area for taxis. There were quite a lot of people waiting in front. Su Jiran liked the weight of her body. When she leaned on him, he felt that his life was complete. Otherwise, his soul would be floating, and he would not be able to find a place to stay. Now, he knew what he wanted. His gaze unconsciously softened. How have you been these days? Su Jiran asked in a low voice. How can you not know how I've been? Baya smiled and asked, in my mind, you're a godlike man, omnipotent. Can I take what you said as praise and not sarcasm? Su Jiran looked at her calm face. It depends on how you hear it. Literally speaking, it's a compliment. However, if you've done a lot of bad things that I don't know about, it does sound very ironic. Baya raised his eyebrows and looked at Su Jiran sharply. Su Jiran pinched her chin, bent down, and kissed her lips. A strong masculine scent invaded her mouth. Baya furrowed his brows and glanced at Su Jiran. He was so engrossed in the kiss that he closed his eyes. He was even impulsive, fierce, and domineering. She knew that she could not avoid it. Struggling would only make him more excited. She clenched her fists and stood still. Her calm eyes were closed, and she was like a statue, dead silent. She did not resist. Su Jiran was also shocked. He opened his eyes and looked at her. Baya took out a silk handkerchief from her bag calmly and wiped her lips. She said lightly, "Is the lipstick tasty? I'm going to put on poisonous lipstick next time. We'll be poisoned together." He pinched her chin, lifted it up, and kissed her lips again. "I'll eat it even if it's poisonous. I'll die under a peony and become a ghost." Baya smiled. "You do have a lot of peonies." Panic flashed in Su Jiran's eyes. His heart felt as though it was being gripped by a hand. The sourness came unexpectedly. He corrected her. "No more. Since 3 years ago, you're the only peony I've had. You know that." Baya nodded thoughtfully. She saw a taxi coming from the corner of her eyes. "Let's get in the car first." Baya opened the car door and sat in the front passenger seat. She said, "Master, let's go to Savant's restaurant." The taxi driver started the car. Baya looked out of the window and did not say anything. Su Jiran looked at the side of her face with a burning gaze. He did not say anything either. Half an hour later, they arrived at Savant's restaurant. The hostess at the door led them to their reserved seats. Baya picked up the menu and ordered. The waitress quickly gave them the order and brought them buckwheat tea. Su Jiran took a sip of tea. "I couldn't find you for the past few days. I almost went crazy. I thought you were hiding alone. It's not like I don't want to live anymore. You have the power of my life in your hands now," Baya said calmly. "As long as you receive the injection every month, I can guarantee that you will live to 100 years old." Su Jiran promised. "It seems that you don't want children anymore. Or, did a woman give birth to a child for you?" Baya smiled lightly. Su Jiran paused and looked at Baya in surprise. "You're willing to give birth to a child for me? Why not? You don't want children, but I do." Baya looked down and sipped her tea. Su Jiran was excited. He held Baya's hand and said seriously, "The antidote is still being developed. If there are no accidents, it will be out in 3 months. At that time, let's get married. I'll go with you wherever you want to go. I'm willing to give up everything I have for you. The antidote is still being developed. You're going to inject me with the virus." A man must be ruthless. This is indeed your style, Su Jiran. You're ruthless. Su Jiran stared at her face. He couldn't tell if she was praising him or despising him. He tightened his grip on her hand. At that time, you forced me to the point that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't just watch you and Gu Lingqing fly away together. I'll be good to you. Baiye looked at Su Jiran suspiciously and narrowed her eyes. Su Jiran, there's something I'm actually quite curious about. With your looks and power, you can have any woman you want. Why did you steal a woman from Gu Lingqing, and even me? With my figure and looks, there are a lot of women on the street. The problem is that I don't have a good personality. You've been with me for so long, so you should understand. What do you like about me? I like you so much that you want to destroy me. Because I've had too many women. I know which kind of woman is worthy of my love. During the 3 years we were married, you didn't abandon yourself because of my flirtatious ways, and you didn't give up because of my wanton hurt. Every time I was sick, drunk, sad, or in a bad mood, you stayed with me. It was always you. Su Jiran confessed. So, even if you have to inject me with the virus, you still want to keep me? Should I feel sad for the Baiye from 3 years ago, or should I feel that I deserve it now? Baiye smiled. Her smile was so bright that it was even more dazzling than the light from the crystal lamp. The past is the past. Let's think about the future together. In the future, Su Jiran won't have eyes for other women. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. That's the end of the bitterness, right? I won't let anyone hurt you. Su Jiran promised. Chapter 263. I'll do the injection with you. As long as you're willing to be with me, I'm willing to do anything for you. You actually know this, Su Jiran confessed tenderly. Baiye propped up her cheeks and looked at Su Jiran. Are you really willing to do anything? I'm willing to do anything, Su Jiran said without hesitation. Got it, I'm going to the washroom. She got up and walked to the washroom. After washing her hands, she looked at her enchanting self in the mirror. Her eyes were filled with confusion. In her knowledge, love was a chemical element called dopamine. When a person felt love, this chemical substance would be produced. It would make one feel sweet, radiant, and immerse in a fairy tale world. One's IQ would drop to 0. All one could see was the good points of the other party. All one would miss was the other party. If one could not see the other party, one would feel sad. However, this chemical substance would also disappear with metabolism. The longest it could stay in the body was no more than 3 months. After 3 months, what maintained the relationship between a man and a woman was not dopamine. Instead, it was one's personal cultivation, sense of responsibility, and attitude towards life. Rationality became the dominant factor. The criteria to be considered were habits and adaptations without temptation. One would be able to see the other party's good points and shortcomings from a rational point of view. Because they were looking for a partner, they would have higher requirements for the other party. It would magnify the other party's shortcomings. There would be quarrels in life. They would wear each other down until they gave up. Then, they would go on another dopamine journey. Baiye and Gu Lingqing loved each other more and more. What was the reason for that? The continuous production of dopamine. What was the reason for Su Jiran's love for Baiye? Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing's voice was heard. Baiye saw Gu Lingqing in the mirror. Her eyes flickered slightly. Why are you here? Gu Lingqing asked and walked towards her. Baiye frowned defensively. She turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. I think I've made myself clear. You're the source of Baiye's pain. Don't see each other again. Even if you see each other, pretend that you don't know each other. She lowered her head and walked outside. Gu Lingqing stood in front of her, grabbed her wrist, turned around and pushed her against the wall. I'm the source of Baiya's pain. Am I yours? Baiya paused and looked at Gu Lingqing in confusion. What do you mean? I think you should know Baiya's feelings for me better than me. After all, you've always been with her and experienced everything she's been through. You know her better than anyone else. Let me ask you, does Baiya want us to be together in the end? Gu Lingqing asked with burning eyes. Baiya clenched his fists. You guys can't be together. Why can't it be? Gu Lingqing retorted. There was pain in his eyes and his brows were knitted together. Baiya lifted her chin. I don't think there's anything to hide. You should be able to tell that Baiya was in too much pain in the past. She was too helpless and heartbroken. Every day was an inner torment for her. She had too many things to worry about, too many things to bear, and too many things to bear. As a result, her condition got worse and worse. She could no longer bear it. If it continued to develop, she might end up like her mother, unable to do anything and locked up in the nursing home until she died. So, at the moment when she was about to have a mental breakdown, she hypnotized herself. I'm a product of her hypnosis. I don't know love, I don't have love, I don't know pain, I don't need to take medicine, and I won't have insomnia anymore. She'll probably never come back, and I don't love you. Gu Lingqing's heart skipped a beat and he loosened his grip. He would rather she pretended not to love him to protect him than to turn into someone else. He didn't know, what should he do? Baiya crawled out from under Gu Lingqing's arm. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing, who was in a daze. Baiya hopes that you and Zhou Hailan can live happily ever after. She's sincere. From now on, your career will rise and you'll be invincible. If you love her too, do what she wants you to do. Without Baiya, Gu Lingqing won't be happy. Does she know that? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. Baiya's lips twitched. You have a strong sense of responsibility. Zhou Hailan gave birth to your child, so you should marry her. The so-called dopamine doesn't last long. Love will disappear with the passage of time. Not many people can get married after a period of love. Even if they get married because of love, they might not be able to live until they die. To be able to walk till the end of your life, that is life. Don't you think that your view of life is too sad? There are many people in history who are faithful to one person until they die. Baiya, don't be disappointed in life, Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Baiya shrugged. She didn't even look at Gu Lingqing in the eye. If you were Baiya, after experiencing what she has gone through, you wouldn't still have hope. You wouldn't still have a little bit of kindness towards this world. Live your own life. I don't want to hurt you, but if you continue to pester me, don't blame me. I won't stand on ceremony. After she finished speaking, she left the washroom decisively. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya's back view with a deep gaze. She was arrogant, cold, and like a lonely female warrior. He roughly knew what Baiya had gone through. She was born in a cold home. She saw her mother being drugged by her father and her mother getting divorced. When she was young, she lived with her mother. Her mother cut her wrists and she committed suicide. She climbed out of the bathtub and walked to the door. She looked outside and realized that there was no place she wanted to go. She returned to the bathtub and waited for death. She was saved by her neighbor. Her mother was sent to the mental hospital. She didn't have anyone to adopt her, so she went to an orphanage. She grew up and could support herself. Her mother was also rescued and she fell in love. However, she was kidnapped by her fiancé and ex-girlfriend on the eve of her wedding. She was raped. It wasn't easy for her to give birth to a child, but it was snatched away before it was even a week old. In the 3 years of marriage, all she saw was her husband's betrayal. She watched over him alone day and night. Finally, he appeared, but he caused her to lose her job. She lost her pinky. He lost his memory and forgot about her. He only remembered Zhou Hailan. To her, it was the greatest pain. She chose to commit suicide. After being saved, she went to study psychology. Just as they were about to be together, something happened. She was filled with disappointment and pessimism towards this world. All the more, he couldn't give up on her. Even if he had to gamble with his life, he had to let her see that it wasn't just despair. At the very least, he would always be by her side, no matter what happened to her. Baya returned to her seat. The waiter had already served 4 dishes. She didn't say anything. She lowered her head and ate the bamboo-wrapped pork without any expression. Su Jiran picked up a meatball for her. You really should eat more. You're too skinny. Chapter 264. A cold glint flashed past Su Jiran's eyes. Don't worry. He's your father. I won't do anything to him. Baya looked at Su Jiran and smiled charmingly. What if I let you do it? Su Jiran looked at Baya in confusion. Baya made a call in front of Su Jiran and pressed the public speaker button. Hello, who's this? Xing Bachuan's voice was heard. Dad, I'm Baya, Baya said. Don't call me Dad. I don't have a daughter like you. I thought you hooked up with Gu Lingqing. Do you know how bad your reputation is in the circle now? Xing Bachuan said sternly. No matter how bad my reputation is, I'm still your daughter. I have your blood flowing in my veins. You can't change this fact. Shut up. You have that B*TCH by Bing's blood flowing in your veins. You're as B*TCH as she is. I'll sever our relationship as father and daughter and publish it on all the major networks. Don't you threaten me with my daughter's identity. I'm not afraid of your threats, Xing Bachuan said angrily. Baya's eyes were as cold as a cliff in the cold wind, but the corner of her mouth was slightly raised. I can sever our relationship as father and daughter, but I have one condition. Cooperate with me and cure my mother. Dream on. From today onwards, whether you and your mother live or die has nothing to do with me. If you continue to pester me, don't blame me for being merciless. Xing Bachuan rejected her directly. Ha! Baya chuckled. I'd like to know how merciless you are going to be towards me. Baya, don't force me. Killing you now is easier than killing an ant, Xing Bachuan said agitatedly. The flesh on his face was trembling. Baya raised her eyebrows and looked at Su Jiran. She raised the corner of her mouth slightly and said sarcastically, killing me is easier than killing an ant. I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. You only know that I broke up with Gu Lingqing, but you don't know that I'm with Su Jiran. How can you be so cheap? Su Jiran is your brother-in-law. Xing Bachuan gritted his teeth in hatred. I don't even have a sister, how could I have a brother-in-law? Also, let me remind you that Su Jiran is my ex-husband. I know very well whether it's me or Xing Jinyan who's acting cheap. Baya hung up the phone after she finished speaking. Su Jiran looked at Baya with pity and consoled her softly, Xiaoya, don't be sad. You still have me. Baya put the phone on the table and said calmly, I'm sad because I still have expectations for him, but the result is not what I want. I feel wronged and pity myself. In fact, all of Xing Bachuan's words were within my expectations, so there's nothing for me to be sad about. On the contrary, his cruelty is my sword, and I don't have to show any mercy. I will make him kneel before you and beg for your forgiveness, Su Jiran promised. Baya smiled. Her charming eyes seemed to be covered with a veil, and no one could tell what she was thinking. Jiran's phone rang. Baya lowered his head to eat. When he saw the caller ID, he frowned impatiently and hung up the phone. The other party did not give up and called again. Do you need me to pick it up for you? Baya asked with a smile. Her eyes glanced at his phone. It's Xing Jinyan, right? Jiran thought for a moment and handed the phone to Baya. Baya looked at the caller ID. She remembered the nickname of editor Jiran. She had somewhat forgotten what the nickname was. Now, it was Little Nyen. She picked up the call and pressed the speaker button again. Jiran, what's the meaning of this? Dad said that B*TCH Baya is with you. Are you crazy? She's already been used by so many men, and she's sick all over. Gu Lingqing doesn't even want her anymore. How can you pick up a pair of used shoes? How can you face me? Xing Jinyan scolded. Are you done scolding me? Baya asked. Xing Jinyan paused and said in shock, Baya, you're really with Jiran. Why are you picking up Jiran's call? Where's Jiran? I want to talk to him. Go ahead, he can hear you. I pressed the speaker button, and he's sitting opposite me, Baya said calmly. Xing Jinyan could no longer stay calm. He was about to explode. What's the meaning of this? Baya, you know that Jiran is my fiancé. Are you going to be a mistress now? Jiran is just your fiancé. Why are you so angry? When Jiran was my husband, what did you do? Baya said casually. Her eyes were full of sarcasm. So you're taking revenge on me now? Xing Jinyan roared. Ha! Baya laughed. In my eyes, you're nothing. Taking revenge on you. Sorry, I don't have that much time to waste on an insignificant person. You're the one who's nothing. One moment, you're with Gu Lingqing, the next moment, you're with Mu Shaoxing, and the next moment, you're with Jiran. You're going to sleep with every man. Don't you have any shame? Xing Jinyan roared hysterically. In terms of the number of men you've slept with, whoever has slept with the most will die a horrible death. Do you dare to swear with me? Baya said sarcastically. Of course I dare. I'm just a man. Do you dare? Xing Jinyan shouted. Then I really don't dare. I'm just a man. Soon, I'll have two. You win. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Baya, if you dare to touch Jiran, I'll kill you, Xing Jinyan threatened. His eyes were bloodshot. He understood Baya's hint. Baya hung up the phone and returned it to Jiran. Jiran looked at her deeply and didn't take it. She seems to love you very much. If you turn back, maybe there'll be another beautiful scene. Baya placed his phone in front of him. Xing Jinyan has attended sex parties overseas. In the 3 years that I've neglected her, she went overseas every year. Do you think I'll like her? Jiran sneered and drank the wine in his hand. In a sense, you're very similar to her. You're a good match. Don't you always attend those parties? In the future, when you get married, you can attend them together. There are no obstacles, no pressure, no responsibilities, no burdens, Baya said calmly and poured a little red wine for Jiran. But there's no love. I'm tired of living without feelings. I don't want to die without someone I love or someone who loves me. That way, it'll feel like I've lived my life in vain. When I'm with Xing Jinyan, there are no obstacles, no pressure, no responsibilities, no burdens. At the same time, there's no warmth, no rest, no stop, Jiran said sadly as he looked at Baya with a burning gaze. What you're looking for is a woman who loves you wholeheartedly. You'll eventually find such a woman, but it's not me. Baya also drank the wine in her hand. His heart was heavy. It shouldn't be. Chapter 265. But the one I love is you. As long as I look at you, I feel at ease. Even if you don't love me, I want to be with you until the end of the world. At least, when I die, the one I love the most will be by my side. I won't have any regrets, Souljourney confessed. Go and do what you should have done, Baya said in a low voice. She lowered her head and continued eating without saying a word. The waiter came over to settle the bill. Baya took out her wallet from her bag. Sir, someone has already settled the bill for your table, Fu Yuhuang said with a smile. Baya looked at Souljourney. It wasn't me, Souljourney explained. Baya's eyes darkened. She glanced sideways at the door. If it wasn't Souljourney, it had to be Gu Lingqing. She was already eating with Souljourney. What did he mean by settling the bill for them? She couldn't see Gu Lingqing clearly, just like how Baya couldn't see him clearly. Who settled the bill? Souljourney asked. Baya shook her head. I'm not sure. Forget it, let's go. She got up and walked out of the door. A gust of cold wind blew over. She wrapped her arms around herself. Souljourney took off his shirt and wrapped it around her. His shirt had a charming smell of cologne. What she liked was the same as what Baya liked before. She liked the refreshing smell. Souljourney walked to the side of the road to take a taxi. Baya turned around and saw Gu Lingqing. He stood by the window of the private room and looked at her with a deep gaze. When their eyes met, she turned her face away and clenched her fist slightly. Souljourney got a taxi and opened the back door. Baya walked towards Souljourney and got into the taxi. Souljourney sat next to her. Baya handed him his clothes and said to the driver, Go to Jinyuan City International Hotel. Xiaoya, can I stay at your place tonight? Souljourney went straight to the point. My relatives are here. It's not convenient today. Baya refused. Souljourney's lips curled into a devilish smile. It's not like I have to. I've already waited for 3 years. 1 more week won't make a difference. Baya lowered her head. I'm used to sleeping alone. Souljourney furrowed his brows and turned his face away. There was a hint of anger in his eyes, but he didn't say anything. The space was very quiet. It was so quiet that they could hear each other's breath. Souljourney's chest heaved unsteadily. He turned around and faced Baya. Baya leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. What if I forcefully request to stay in the same room with you? Souljourney asked in a deep voice as he looked at her with a burning gaze. Baya glanced at him and said calmly, Okay. The word okay was out of his expectations. Souljourney couldn't see Baya clearly anymore. You agree? Yes, Baya replied softly. She tilted her head and leaned on Souljourney's shoulder. Souljourney's heart was beating fast. He hugged her shoulder and looked down at her. She closed her eyes. Her long eyelashes were like a fan. They were soft, and they melted his heart. Souljourney lowered his head and kissed her on the forehead. She didn't react at all. It was as if she had fallen asleep. Souljourney kissed her forehead, her eyes, her nose, and her lips. She still didn't move at all. Xiaoya. Souljourney's voice was a little hoarse. Let's get married soon, okay? Baya didn't say anything. Souljourney noticed that Baya was behaving strangely and panic flashed in his eyes. Xiaoya, wake up, Xiaoya. Baya pushed his mouth and didn't open her eyes. You're very noisy. I just fell asleep. Su Jiran heard her speak and breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled. You're really sleepy. It's still so early. Baya didn't refute and continued to sleep. The car stopped at the International Hotel and Baya opened her eyes. Su Jiran handed the driver a 100 yuan note. Baya opened the car door and got out. Keep the change. Su Jiran carried the clothes and caught up with Baya. He draped it over her. It's cold. Don't catch a cold. Baya responded and went to the hotel. Su Jiran didn't ask for another room and followed Baya to the 21st floor. Are you sleeping outside or inside? Baya asked. Outside, Su Jiran replied. There was a strange look in his eyes. He had seen countless women, but because of Baya's words, his heart was beating fast as if it was his first awakening of love. Baya opened the door. Only then did he know that Baya was talking about outside or inside. There was more than one bed. You booked the presidential suite. Su Jiran couldn't hide the disappointment in his tone. The service in the presidential suite is better. The room is more complete. I'm still very sleepy. I'll take a shower first. Good night. Baya walked into the room and locked the door. Su Jiran wanted to say something, but she had already locked the door. He saw that she was really tired, so he didn't call her again and walked into the bathroom. Baya saw that he didn't knock on the door. She went to the bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror. She looked at herself for a long time without saying anything. Her phone rang. She came back to her senses and saw that it was Su Jiran's call. She answered. What's wrong? I want to hear your voice, Su Jiran said softly. Then record my voice now. I'm going to sleep later. Don't call me anymore. I have a headache when I wake up, Baya said indifferently. Then say something nice. I'll record it. Su Jiran really turned on the record button. Baya paused for a moment and asked, why do they call you Commander? It's from the president. So, they call me Commander. The place you went last time was one of my bases. My main job is to investigate all the officials in secret and grasp all the secrets and movements of all the officials, Su Jiran explained. You work for the president. Baya was doubtful. Strictly speaking, yes. What if it's not the president who comes to power this time? Baya asked. If there's no such accident, Gu Lingqing has already lost his candidacy. As long as the information I have on Su Shaoling is leaked, Su Zheng will also be disqualified. Su Zheng is your uncle, your biological uncle. Baya was puzzled. Baya, I'm only telling you this. I'm willing to hand my weakness to you in exchange for a chance for you to treat me sincerely. I'm not Xiong Dani's biological son. Xiong Dani's biological son is dead. I'm adopted by Xiong Dani, Su Jiran said with a smile. Baya frowned. So, how did you know that Xing Bachuan killed your father? Chapter 266. The human heart was separated by the belly. Even if one could see the beating heart, one still could not see a person clearly. That was why there was speculation, probing, danger, and injury. She could feel the coldness in Su Jiran's tone through the screen. She felt that everyone should bear the consequences of their mistakes. It was not that they would not take revenge, but that it was not time yet. Xing Bachuan only had himself to blame for what had happened today. I'm sleepy. Good night, Su Jiran, Baya said softly. You haven't said anything nice yet, Su Jiran reminded her. What nice thing do you want to hear? Thank you for giving me an extraordinary life. Or thank you for loving me to the point of destruction. Ha! Baya chuckled. That chuckle was filled with displeasure, sarcasm, and blame. She did not give Su Jiran a chance to speak. She hung up the phone, switched it off, and threw it on the bedside table. She felt dizzy and closed her eyes. She did not even turn on the lights. After some time, she suddenly woke up and looked at the bedside. Gu Lingqing was standing in front of her. Because he had drunk alcohol, his face was strangely rosy. Even the air was filled with the smell of alcohol. "Why are you here?" Baiya asked in a low voice. "What do you think?" Gu Lingqing asked in return. His dark eyes did not hide the sadness that flowed through them. His breathing was rapid as he looked at her with melancholy. It was as if she was the only antidote for him. Seeing him like that, Baiya felt a little uncomfortable. "Please get out of here. I want to rest." Gu Lingqing walked towards Baiya. She was frightened and got up from the bed. He was even faster. He rushed over and pressed Baiya down on the bed. Baiya pushed his shoulder defensively. Because they were so close to each other, all she could smell was his breath. How much did he drink? She was drunk and a little dizzy. "Gu Lingqing, let go of me. Su Jiran is outside. If you continue like this, I will scream," Baiya warned sternly. Gu Lingqing tightened his jaw and stared at her. "Go ahead and shout, right?" Baiya was stunned. She was just trying to scare him. Of course she wouldn't shout. If Su Jiran came in, it would only make the situation even more chaotic. She had been seen through by Gu Lingqing, so she was angry. She turned her head and bit Gu Lingqing's arm. He furrowed his brows, pursed his lips, and did not say a word. He stared at her without blinking, as if he wanted to see through her and take her away. He was indeed. Baiya could taste his blood, but he still did not let go. Soldiers had a will of steel. Even if he was bitten until he was bleeding, he did not make a sound. He was indeed a tough guy. She thought that there must be a reason why Baiya liked him. She could not push him away or bite him. Baiya was helpless. "What do you want?" Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Baiya was shocked. Her eyes widened and she pushed him away with all her might. She could not break free at all. His kiss was as domineering as Su Jiran's. The difference was that she could treat Su Jiran's kiss calmly. She could not bear the slightest ripple in her heart. However, when faced with his kiss, she could not resist it and her breathing became chaotic. After Gu Lingqing's red tongue entered her mouth, it circled around her tongue a few times and then sucked on the tip of her tongue. There was a slight prickling pain, so she could not ignore his presence. What was more intense was the taste of alcohol in his mouth. It easily ignited her. His palm lifted up her nightdress. The temperature in his palm was as hot as the butt of a cigarette. Everywhere it touched, it made her tremble. She wanted to say that her relatives were there to stop her from further intruding. But her lips were blocked by him, so she could not make a sound at all. Gu Lingqing's palm pressed down along her smooth skin. Baiya gripped the bedsheets tightly and looked at him in shock. He closed his eyes and did not look at her. He kissed her seriously, not too fast or too slow, as if he wanted her to get used to it. Baiya felt ashamed. She had been on guard, but she had miscalculated. There was no logic to speak of when it came to a drunkard. He did not look at her at all, so he did not see the sanitary pad she had pasted on her. Most importantly, he still blocked her lips to prevent her from saying anything. Gu, gu, She did not know whether it was because she was anxious or because she was struggling, but her forehead and nose were densely covered in sweat. Most importantly, there was an indescribable feeling washing away her rationality, and she was on the verge of collapsing. Gu Lingqing was too familiar with her. He remembered every detail of her behavior in his heart. He increased his speed and kissed her even more deeply. Baya felt that she was almost out of breath, so she bit his tongue. He suddenly pressed it down. She felt as if there were fireworks blooming in her mind. There was a bright and colorful light. She forgot to think, forgot the environment she was in, and opened her mouth to breathe. Gradually, it calmed down. Xiaoya, your reaction is quite good. Gu Lingqing said hoarsely in her ear, now it's my turn. He lifted her feet. Baiya was anxious. She held his hand and said anxiously, I'm on my period. You can't. Gu Lingqing paused and looked at his palm. There was no red. He looked at her suspiciously. She found it difficult to say it. After all, it was just an act. She felt guilty and lowered her eyes. It's true. Didn't you say it just now? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. You blocked my mouth just now. What should I say? Baiya explained. Gu Lingqing replied. He didn't make things difficult for her and sat by her bed. Baiya couldn't tell what he was thinking, so she stayed away from him defensively. Gu Lingqing looked sideways and saw her repulsion. His eyes were deep. Where are you? Where will I be? If there's any danger, remember to call me immediately. It seems like you're the one in the most danger, right? Baiya said unhappily. Who would do this to her room in the middle of the night and without asking if she was willing? If she didn't know that Baiya liked him, she would have asked him to die. Did you feel comfortable just now? Gu Lingqing changed the topic. Baiya blushed. She didn't want to answer his question. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as a yes, Gu Lingqing continued. I didn't feel comfortable, Baiya replied. Then change it next time, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. His eyes were locked on her and he replied seriously. What? Baiya didn't understand what he meant. What change? Change what? My fingers are a little thinner, Gu Lingqing explained seriously. Baiya, I remember that we broke up. No, it's a divorce. You even signed a marriage agreement with Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing, please understand your identity. You're a married man and a soldier. Should you say something like that? Baiya said angrily. Chapter 267. Baiya's heart tightened. She held Gu Lingqing's hand anxiously. Why are you so stubborn? Don't you think you're the one who's stubborn? What you think is right might not be right, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. But you have to take up your responsibility as a father. You and Zhou Hailan have a son. You need to be an umbrella for your future instead of wasting your time on a useless person like me, Baiya said angrily. Although that child isn't what I want, because he's my biological son, I'll take care of him and protect him to fulfill my responsibility as a father. This doesn't conflict with my pursuit of you. Gu Lingqing was also angry. How many times do I have to tell you before you understand that you can't? Before Baiya could finish her sentence, Gu Lingqing kissed her lips again and swallowed the words she wanted to say. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Baiya glanced at the door. Panic flashed through her eyes and her back stiffened. Xiaoya, who are you talking to? Su Jiran asked suspiciously when he heard the voice inside. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing angrily and punched Gu Lingqing's chest. Gu Lingqing took the punch and held Baiya's hand. I'll come to see you in 2 days. Call me if you need anything. He kissed her lips again, got up and walked out of the window. Xiaoya, Su Jiran shouted. Xiaoya. Baiya guessed that Su Jiran was about to break in. Wait. She picked up the wine in the cabinet and opened it. She took a big gulp and splashed some on herself. Then, she went to the bathroom and poured half the bottle. She placed the bottle on the bedside table and opened the door. Su Jiran looked at Baiya's flushed face. Have you been drinking? Baiya responded. He looked around the room. Other than Baiya, there was no one else. Who were you talking to just now? Why are you talking to yourself? Baiya looked at Su Jiran with droopy eyes. Su Jiran saw her phone on the bedside table and picked it up. It was turned off. He turned on his phone and checked the call log. There was no incoming call notification. He believed her. Why are you talking to yourself? I can be a good listener. Su Jiran put down her phone and said. She didn't have anything to say to Su Jiran, but if she didn't say anything, she would seem too guilty, which would make him suspicious. Practice cursing people, Baiya said in a low voice. Su Jiran looked at her from head to toe. Do you still need to practice scolding people with your eloquence? Are you complimenting me? Baiya asked. Su Jiran's lips twitched. He entered her room and sat on the sofa. Go ahead and curse. I'll listen and give you some guidance. I can't curse now. Baiya looked troubled. Su Jiran laughed. Why are you so cute? Practicing how to curse people in the middle of the night. I have a headache now. I want to sleep. Baiya asked her to leave. Because she was too guilty, she didn't look at Su Jiran. She put the bottle of wine on the bedside table into the wine cabinet. Su Jiran hugged her from behind. He took a deep breath and smelled the fragrance of wine on her body. He said in a hoarse voice, Xiaoya, I don't want to leave your room anymore. Baiya furrowed her eyebrows. Su Jiran and Gu Lingqing were very similar in some aspects. Was it because they didn't become brothers? It was too dangerous to sleep with Su Jiran in the same room and on the same bed. Even if she had her auntie to protect her, her auntie was not an excuse for the rest of her life. If she let him sleep with her today, she wouldn't be able to reject him in the future. I can't sleep if there's one more person. Baiya refused. Then don't lock the door. I'll come in after you fall asleep. Baiya, you have to get used to me being by your side. We still have a long life ahead of us. Su Jiran said softly and licked her red earlobe. Baiya's body trembled. She covered her ears and looked at him in rejection. Su Jiran smiled wickedly. Be more sensitive. Su Jiran, can you go and sleep? Baiya sighed softly. No. He rejected her decisively. Neither hard nor soft methods worked. Baiya wanted to lose her temper. Then I'll leave my room to you. I'll go out. Baiya walked towards the door. Su Jiran held her hand and said helplessly, you should give me a deadline. Baiya, I've given you enough patience. 3 months. Baiya said. Su Jiran's eyes turned cold. Don't tell me that you're going to leave me in 3 months. He was right. Baiya felt guilty and her breathing became unstable. Do you think I can leave you? She forced herself to calm down and asked. Su Jiran held her hand and pressed it on his stomach. It was scorching hot, like the butt of a cigarette, burning her palm. Baiya subconsciously pulled her hand out and looked at him defensively. Help me get it out. I don't care what you do, get it out. Su Jiran said in a commanding tone. Baiya frowned. Do it yourself. Su Jiran unbuckled his belt. She hurriedly walked towards the door. He grabbed her arm. Baiya did not dare to turn her head. Turn back. Su Jiran ordered. She took a deep breath. In terms of physical strength, she was not a match for Su Jiran. She had her aunt to protect her today, so she should be safe. She turned around and looked at Su Jiran. The zipper of his trousers had been unzipped, and half of his shirt was pulled out. He was roguish and dangerous, as if he would turn into a big monster in the next moment and swallow her into his stomach. You have to give me some time to prepare myself. I've just divorced Gu Lingqing, and now I'm having sex with you. Don't let others say it, I also feel that I'm very cheap. I can't get over myself. Baiya begged. Su Jiran locked his eyes on her. Baiya, don't play tricks on me. I agreed to your request because I cherish you and want to win your heart. But don't waste my trust and play me like a fool, okay? Su Jiran warned her meaningfully. Baiya knew that Su Jiran had a high EQ and IQ. If she made a mistake, she would have nowhere to hide in front of him. I'm already adjusting. Although it's slow, I'm already trying my best, Baiya replied. Su Jiran flung her hand away. Wait here. He walked into her bathroom. Baiya's heart was still in her throat. Her hands were trembling as she looked at the door. She could escape now, but what about after she escaped? Su Jiran would never trust her again. With his ability, it would be very easy for him to catch her and bring her back. She would lose more than she gained. She could only gamble again. In the bathroom, Su Jiran glanced at the rubbish bin and saw the female products. She was really on her period. He washed his hands, turned around and opened the door. Chapter 268. The corners of Su Jiran's lips curled up. It was good that she was here. You should rest. It's late. Let's talk tomorrow. I'll be outside. You can look for me if you need anything. Su Jiran compromised. She walked out of the room and closed the door for Baiya. She was like a defeated rooster. Her shoulders drooped and she sat on the sofa weakly. However, her eyes were fixed in front of her. Life was full of gambles. If she won, everyone would be happy. If she lost, she would have to start all over again. She lay on the sofa and rested for a while. Then, she locked the door and walked into the bathroom. She took a shower and washed her clothes. When she lay on the bed, it was already 3 in the morning. As she lay on the bed, the scene with Gu Lingqing flashed across her mind. Her vision became more and more hazy. She closed her eyes. She had to sleep. There were many things to do tomorrow. She had to be alert. She slept until 10:20 in the morning. She was woken up by her phone ringing. She saw that it was Lu Shuang. She paused for a moment and answered. Shuang Niu. Xiao Bai, where are you now? Can you meet me? Lu Shuang said irritably. I'm in Jinyuan City now. What's wrong? Baiya asked worriedly. Do you remember the time we went to the women's club together? Didn't someone do something to me? Yes. Did you find out who the man was? Baiya guessed. No, but I'm pregnant, Lu Shuang said helplessly. What? Baiya was shocked. She sat up. You didn't take the pill. Didn't I ask you to have a checkup? I did. There's nothing wrong. I saw that the man had been taking protective measures. I thought that taking the pill would harm my body, so I didn't take it. I didn't expect that there would be a fish that slipped through the net. Lu Shuang was confused. He sighed. Shuang Niu, listen to me. You don't have a boyfriend and you're not married. If you give birth to this child, people will criticize you. It will ruin you. You can't keep the child, Baiya said seriously. Lu Shuang was silent. Baiya could tell that Lu Shuang was hesitating. She hesitated because she actually had her own ideas, but she was not completely sure. She wanted the answer to be the same as her thoughts, and when it was not, she would be silent. Baiya was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. She got up from the bed and walked to the window. She said in a grave tone, "Shuang Niu, you're pregnant before marriage. This will be a stain on your record for life. You won't even be able to keep your position in the military. I'll learn more in the future. It shouldn't be a problem for me to go back and become a gynecologist." "My father is the director," Lu Shuang said softly. "But your child is an unregistered resident and can't be registered. Your father will also lose face because of you. Even if you go back and become an obstetrician, your colleagues, patients, and patients' families will point fingers at you. It will be difficult for you to find a husband who will respect you. Even if your in-laws accept you, will they accept your children? Even if they accept your child, what about your current child when you and your husband have a new child in the future? Do you want him to be unhappy for the rest of his life?" "Shuang Niu, think carefully," Bai Yi said solemnly. "Xiao Bai, I'm already desperate. No one will marry me. I lowered my requirements, but I can't even find a boyfriend. Will I be lonely for the rest of my life?" Lu Shuang said in a daze. "You're so beautiful and have a good character. How can no one marry you? I'm 27 this year. I remember that the market was quite good when I was 23. 24, and there were a lot of men who asked me out. Now I've lost confidence because of the pressure of life. Let me think about it." Lu Shuang was depressed and hung up the phone. The more Bai Yi thought about it, the more worried she was about Lu Shuang. She went to the washroom to brush her teeth and wash up quickly. She didn't even put on her makeup and went out with her bag. Su Jiran had already woken up and was working in front of the computer. When he saw Bai Yi, he smiled. "You just woke up? Something happened to Lu Shuang." "I have to go back to Sitia now," Bai Yi said worriedly. Su Jiran turned off the computer. "Didn't you become someone's tutor for 3 months?" "Oh yeah, about this, Su Jiran. Do you have any way to find a mercenary for me? I'll pay him 200,000 a month. I need him to help me protect one of my students. At the same time, I need him to restrain my student's behavior and report to me about the situation." "Sure, but it'll take at least a day for the mercenary to arrive. Are you in a hurry to go back to City A?" Su Jiran asked. Bai Yi calculated the time that Lu Shuang was pregnant. It didn't seem to be a month yet. Even if she had a miscarriage, it would be 49 days later. She was not in a hurry to go back to City A. She couldn't panic. She had to be calm. Gradually, Bai Yi calmed down. She shook her head at Su Jiran and wiped the sweat on her nose. "I'm too nervous. Indeed, I'm not in a hurry. Actually, you don't have to worry too much about Lu Shuang. She's quite lucky. I guess she'll be lucky soon," Su Jiran said with judgment. "How do you know?" Bai Yi looked at Su Jiran suspiciously. He was secretly investigating all the officials, so he might know something that no one knew. "If you want to know, let's go for breakfast together. I'll tell you slowly." Su Jiran smiled and glanced at the door. Bai Yi looked at the time and found that it was already past breakfast time. "Okay, it's my treat." She walked out of the door. They had breakfast at Fuchuan restaurant near the hotel. Because it was past breakfast time, there were not many people there. Bai Yi went upstairs and ordered several kinds of soup dumplings with different flavors and 2 bowls of dumplings. "Tell me." Bai Yi was anxious about Lu Shuang. "Do you still remember Shanian?" Su Jiran asked. Bai Yi had a little impression of this person. He seemed to be the son of the president. She had met him on a blind date with Lu Shuang. He looked like a bad playboy, and he was also the man who took Lu Shuang's virginity. At that time, Su Jiran even took a photo of it and threatened her. "What's wrong?" "He likes Lu Shuang," Su Jiran said in a deep voice. "That's really bad news." Lu Shuang doesn't like him. Or, I should say, he hates him, Baiya said unhappily. He's His Highness, the son of the president. If nothing goes wrong, he will run for the president this time. I'm afraid Lu Shuang can't avoid it, Su Jiran said. What do you mean by can't avoid it? Will Shiniyan marry Lu Shuang? Baiya was suspicious. Many thoughts flashed through her mind in an instant. I don't think so. Shiniyan's identity is so noble. He just became the president, and there must be many voices of impeachment. His father should have helped him choose a girl who can stabilize his position. But it's still possible that Shiniyan secretly took in Lu Shuang as his woman. Secret. Baiya felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over her head, and her blood froze. Chapter 269. I'm sorry, but our Lu Shuang doesn't care. Baiya said angrily. She picked up the teacup on the table and drank all the water in it. Su Jiran saw that she was angry, so he stopped talking. The waiter served the dumplings quickly. Do you want vinegar? Su Jiran asked. Baiya had no appetite at all. She knew that Lu Shuang was Baiya's only friend. That Shiniyan really likes Shuangniu. Baiya still couldn't believe it. This is what I heard. Shiniyan is more shrewd than anyone thinks, and he does things very carefully. Lu Shuang is with him. Although he doesn't have a title, he can have anything he wants, Su Jiran commented. Shuangniu looks casual, but she is very hot-tempered. She has very low requirements for men. She doesn't ask for cars, houses, looks, or status, but she can't cheat or be a playboy. Shiniyan should have many girlfriends, right? Baiya said sadly. Su Jiran didn't deny it. In his position, a man's charm is sometimes his strongest weapon. He needs those women and those men to strengthen his position. He's only 27 years old this year. If he becomes the president, he'll be the youngest president in history. It's all because of him. This is all because of his strength and strategy. Do you have any reliable people you can introduce to Lu Shuang? It's lonely at the top, and with Lu Shuang's straightforward personality, she won't last more than one episode in a palace drama before she carries a bento box. Shiniyan has too many women around him. Lu Shuang can't handle them all. I'd rather him live a peaceful life. Su Jiran laughed. Why do I feel that you will be in charge of the harem at the end in court dramas? Baiya was annoyed. She hit Su Jiran's hand. I'm serious. Why are you laughing? Su Jiran's expression hardened. Misfortune is the source of fortune, and misfortune is the source of misfortune. It's better to let nature take its course. Or, Shiniyan will soon get tired of Lu Shuang, and if we stop him, it will make him more determined. Lu Shuang is married, so Shiniyan doesn't need to think about her anymore. She might harm her husband's entire family, Su Jiran guessed. From Su Jiran's words, Baiya could feel that Shiniyan was an overbearing, ruthless, and merciless person. What she hated the most was being forced. She pushed the table hard and said, I'm not eating anymore. You eat. Xiaoya, Su Jiran shouted. Baiya picked up her bag and walked out with a cold face. She walked alone on the way back to the hotel. She was afraid that Lu Shuang did not know that Shiniyan was eyeing her. Otherwise, with Lu Shuang's character, he would definitely tell her. She now suspected that the person who raped Lu Shuang might be this prince. Her phone rang. She saw that it was LV Biao's mother and answered it immediately. Ms. Bai, something happened to LV Biao at school. Someone saw him peeping at girls in the toilet. Now the principal wants me to go. What should I do? I don't dare to tell my husband. He will definitely beat him to death, LV Biao's mother said worriedly. Baiya's heart skipped a beat. how is that possible? I'm going to school now. Don't worry, we'll talk about it when we get there. Baya immediately took a taxi and rushed to school. The homeroom teacher came out to pick her up. She went to the principal's office. Other than the homeroom teacher, the principal, the dean, LV Biao, and a few other students were in the principal's office. LV Biao clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were bloodshot and he looked at the students in front of him with a murderous look. Baya saw that something was wrong. She went forward and hugged LV Biao. She said gently, "It's okay, it's okay. You didn't do it, did you?" LV Biao looked at Baya. His eyes were red because he was agitated and wronged. "I didn't. They wronged me. Believe me. There's justice in this world. They can't wrong you. Whatever I ask, you just answer truthfully," Baya said. LV Biao nodded. Baya turned around and looked at the three kids opposite her. An idiom flashed through her mind. "Which one of you saw LV Biao peeping at girls in the toilet?" Baya asked coldly. "All three of us saw it," the chubby boy said. "When did you see it?" Baya questioned. "After the second period, we finished our exercises and went to the toilet. We saw LV Biao peeping at girls," the chubby boy said righteously. "Very good. Fatty, follow me. Principal, follow me too." Baya walked towards the door. Lu Biao held Baya's hand. "Teacher." Baya smiled faintly at LV Biao. When heaven is about to bestow a great responsibility on a man, he must first suffer his will, tire his muscles and bones, starve his skin, empty his body, and mess up his actions. That's why his patience has been tempered, and he has done what he couldn't. Now the hardships, setbacks, just to make you more tenacious. Resolute. LV Biao understood. He nodded and let go. Fatty glanced at his companions and followed behind Baya with trepidation. After leaving the door and turning a corner, Baya asked the Fatty, "Did you see LV Biao peeping with your own eyes?" Fatty nodded. "Yes." "Then show us what you saw," Baya said. He locked Fatty in a cold manner and turned on the recording. Fatty felt guilty. His eyes flickered as he walked to the female toilet and laid on the ground. Baya smiled. Lying on the corridor in this position, facing the female toilet. Unless LV Biao is retarded, he wouldn't do that. "That's what I really saw," Fatty said firmly. "Alright, you can go back to the classroom now." Baya looked at the principal. "Let's invite the second student to come out and perform." The principal knew Baya's intention, but his face was still solemn. LV Biao was the governor's son. If he did something wrong, they wouldn't dare to punish him. If they wronged the governor's son, the school wouldn't be able to escape the blame. "Let's forget about it," the principal said with a troubled expression. "Now that my student has been wronged, how can we forget about it so easily? Or do you want me to invite Governor LV himself?" Baya said sternly. That. Let's continue watching." The principal bit the bullet and returned to the office with Baya to call another short student. Baya smiled and asked, "Did you see LV Biao peeping with your own eyes?" "Of course," the short student said immediately. "Then please show us what you saw." Baya took out his phone. The short student's face was pale. He leaned against the wall and looked inside. When the principal saw it, his face turned pale too. The third student also came over. What he performed was rushing into the female toilet. "Principal, please call the three students to the principal's office. Also, call their parents over." Baya walked towards the principal's office. LV Biao looked at Baya worriedly. Chapter 270. After a while, the three students were called into the office. They must have had a private discussion as their expressions were very ugly. Baiya leaned on the principal's desk and turned on her phone to record the conversation. Tell me, why did you accuse LV Biao? I don't like him, the fatty didn't deny it and said confidently. Baiya looked at the other two students and said, did you guys accuse him because you don't like him too? He used his identity as the governor's son to act like a tyrant. Even when he did something bad, there were people protecting him. This kind of person can't be allowed to stay in the school. He will only harm others if he stays, the skinny boy said righteously. Baiya's lips twitched and she smiled sarcastically. You guys aren't the law and you guys aren't gods. You guys think that LV Biao will harm his classmates. Now, it's you guys who are harming, slandering his classmates. Your actions will cause LV Biao to be spurned and expelled from the school. It will even affect the reputation of the governor. The circumstances are serious. So, I have already called the police. The rest of the matter will be settled by the law. The principal's expression was very bad. This kind of thing happened in the school and it had a huge impact. How can we not call the police? It's just a small matter. Baiya looked at the principal and said, do you think LV Biao's expulsion is a small matter? Have you ever thought about how it would affect his soul if he doesn't see justice after being wrongly accused? It's not that serious. It's just a child's joke, the principal laughed dryly. Baiya became serious and looked at the principal sharply. If it was just a joke, you wouldn't have called us over. The principal saw that he couldn't convince Baiya, so he turned to LV Biao's mother and said, if this matter gets out, it won't be good for the governor's reputation, right? LV Biao's mother hesitated and looked at Baiya. Teacher Bai, can I discuss it with you? LV Biao's mother didn't need to say anything. She knew what to say. Baiya nodded and walked out to the corner of the stairs. Mr. Bai, it's all thanks to you that LV Biao managed to escape. Otherwise, he would have been wrongly accused. However, LV Biao's father is a respectable person. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Why don't we just let them apologize and let it go? LV Biao's mother said with a smile. Said. A phrase flashed through Baiya's mind, it's the father's fault for not teaching his son well. With LV Biao's personality, the influence of his family was huge. Madam, you know very well what happened to LV Biao in the past. If he made a mistake, he would not be punished. If he was wronged, he would not be able to see justice. Then, how could his mentality not be twisted? Let him see the power of the law and understand that if he did something wrong, he would be punished. His behavior is developing in the right direction. Baiya disagreed. I need to discuss this matter with my husband. LV Biao's mother seemed to disagree, but she also expressed that she was in charge of LV Biao's affairs. Baiya smiled. LV Biao's mother must have made up her mind not to pursue the matter. It's okay. Go ahead and discuss it. However, please allow me to remind you that the contract I signed with Governor LV clearly states that LV Biao's treatment should be completely according to my plan. You can't interfere. Once you do, the contract will be terminated, Baiya expressed clearly. LV Biao's mother's expression did not look good. I don't think I'm interfering with your treatment plan, right? What you're doing will worsen the psychological distortion of my patient. What do you think? However, the child is yours. I'm just a person who receives money for treatment. The child's future development depends on you, his guardian. I want to go back and see LV Biao. Baiya nodded and walked towards the direction of the office. LV Biao's mother's eyes flashed with annoyance. She called LV Xingzhou. What's the matter? LV Xingzhou's tone was not very good. Where did you find this psychiatrist? Not only does she have no manners at all, she's insolent, arrogant, rude, and unruly. Give her some face and she's already starting a dye shop. She's almost stepping on my head. Can't you fire her and find another one? LV Biao's mother said angrily. Didn't you say she's quite capable yesterday? She even made Xiao Biao stop making trouble during dinner. She even took the initiative to ask to go to school. What's wrong with you today? LV Xingzhou's attitude became even worse. Today, there were 3 students who wrongly accused our LV Biao. She's quite capable. In just a short while, she found a loophole in Xiao Biao's accusation. However, she insisted on suing those 3 students. I want to turn a big problem into a small one and a small one into nothing. After all, what our Xiao Biao did before was true. LV Biao's mother said worriedly. Don't bother me with such a small matter. You can handle it yourself. LV Xingzhou's tone became slightly better. But she said that if we interfere with LV Biao's matters, her contract with you will be terminated. LV Biao is my son. Can't I interfere with his matters? LV Biao's mother got angrier as she spoke. LV Xingzhou was silent. You gave her so much money. Now that the contract is terminated, can you return it? LV Biao's mother asked again. I can't return it. I think she did it on purpose. I've never seen a psychiatrist as arrogant as she is. She's a liar. She wants to use this method to extort a huge sum of money. If she can't be cured in the future, we won't be able to say anything about her. Also, she started putting on airs right after signing the contract. Now, she even sent Xiao Biao to school. She even skipped out on tutoring. This kind of person has a bad character. I don't believe she can take good care of Xiao Biao. Ask her to return the money and get lost. LV Xingzhou was so annoyed that his head was about to explode. You handle it. In the future, take good care of the child. You don't do anything at home and can't even take care of a child. I think I should divorce you and find a new wife to give birth to a smart and healthy child. When LV Biao's mother heard that, she felt wronged. You were the one who didn't want me to go to work. Now you're blaming me. Sob, sob, sob. When LV Xingzhou heard that, he started crying. He didn't say anything and just hung up the phone. LV Biao's mother was even more furious. If it wasn't for Baiya, she wouldn't have been scolded for no reason. She went back to the principal's office angrily. Without looking at Baiya, she said to the principal, my husband said that they're all children. Don't make things difficult for them. After all, they're classmates. Baiya understood. Why? They wronged me. They should be sent to jail, LV Biao said anxiously. You better get along well with your classmates. Don't cause trouble for me, LV Biao's mother said angrily. LV Biao looked at Baiya with a wronged expression. Baiya smiled. Your parents are your guardians. I can't make the decision. Because of our differences, I'm afraid I can't be your tutor anymore. Good luck, I'll have high hopes for you. Chapter 271. I hope to find a good teacher for you. Teacher Bai is too harsh and I'm afraid she's not suitable for you. Don't worry, I'll definitely find a better one for you. LV Biao's mother coaxed and belittled Baiya. Baiya stood there indifferently, raising an elegant and calm smile. Parents played an important role in the development of a child's personality. Since LV Biao's mother didn't approve of her, saying too much would just lower her status. I only want teacher Bai, LV Biao said stubbornly. Kid, why aren't you listening? Wait for your father to come back and let him teach you a lesson. LV Biao's mother was furious. Baiya looked at LV Biao, you're talented and smart. You don't need a teacher to guide you and you'll be successful. Even if I'm not your teacher, as long as you get into the top 10 in the monthly test, I will still keep my promise. Teacher Bai, how much do you earn a month? If they don't hire you, I will. LV Biao said stubbornly. You won't be able to afford Teacher Bai's salary. She earns 80,000 a day. Your monthly allowance is only enough for her for a day. LV Biao's mother said in disdain. The principal was shocked and looked at Bai Ye. 2 days of her salary was enough for him for a year. Bai Ye felt that it would only get uglier if she continued to stay here. She nodded at LV Biao's mother and walked out of the office. Teacher Bai, wait. LV Biao's mother shouted. Bai Ye walked behind the wall and stopped. You're only teaching LV Biao for a few hours. Based on the fee of 10,000 an hour, can you refund the rest? LV Biao's mother said coldly. Bai Ye wasn't angry. He smiled. Madam LV, you can check the contract and get a lawyer to look at it before calling me. How can you be so shameless? It's only been a few hours and it's already close to 2 million. Even if you sell it, you won't be able to make that much money. Are you going to refund the money or not? If you don't refund it, don't even think about working in the future. LV Biao's mother warned. Bai Ye looked at LV Biao's mother calmly. Her gaze was calm and serene. LV Biao's mother frowned. What are you looking at? My employment relationship with you ends now. However, I have to remind you that there are some words that no one will care if they are spoken at a lower position, but if they are spoken at a higher position, they will be magnified without limit. Similarly, there are some things that are done at a lower position, but if they are done at a higher position, they will lose. Bai Ye warned as he walked towards the stairs. LV Biao's mother was in a daze. When she came to her senses, Bai Ye had already gone downstairs. She walked out of the school gate, got on a taxi, and went back to the hotel. She called Su Jiran. You don't need to look for mercenaries anymore. There's no change to the plan. Bad, I'm fired. What's going on? Su Jiran asked worriedly. Reasonable, but unexpected. That's all for now. She hung up the phone, looked out the window, and sighed. Originally, he wanted to use the opportunity of counseling to get close to LV Xingzhou. Unfortunately, this world was full of too many uncertainties. There were miracles and accidents. He couldn't force it and could only adapt. When she arrived at the hotel, Su Jiran was already there. Are you okay? They didn't make things difficult for you, did they? Su Jiran looked at her face. Bai Ye shook her head. They interfered with my treatment, so they terminated the contract. If they didn't terminate it, I wouldn't have been able to cure LV Biao within 3 months under their interference. Were you confident that you could cure him within 3 months? Bai Ye smiled faintly. LV Biao is very perceptive. He's like a strong and healthy sapling. If he's tied to a straight wooden stick, he'll be upright. I can cure him within a month. However, if the people outside want to mess with him, he'll really go astray. It's quite scary. It's all fate. I'll pack my things and go back to City A. It's good to go back to City A. City A is my territory. No one will dare to bully you, Su Jiran promised. As long as you don't bully me, Bai Ye said meaningfully. Su Jiran was speechless. While she was packing her luggage, Su Jiran's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and frowned. He turned around and walked out of the door. He answered the phone and asked, "What's wrong?" Gu Lingqing said he doesn't want to marry me. What do you think I should do? Zhou Hailan asked in a low voice. Cry, throw a tantrum and threaten to hang yourself. Isn't that your usual routine? You were very confident in yourself. This is a task given to you by the higher-ups. You should solve it yourself, Su Jiran said coldly. If I insist on getting married, Gu Lingqing will only hate me. Even if I marry him, I won't be happy, Zhou Hailan said irritably. How you deal with it is your business. That's all. I'm very busy. Su Jiran did not wait for Zhou Hailan to speak and hung up the phone directly. Zhou Hailan was irritated and stomped his feet angrily. He breathed in, and breathed out. He adjusted his emotions and called Gu Lingqing. Ah, Qing, Xiaobao can't live without a father. I've let him down for 5 years. Don't abandon us, okay? Xiaobao and I only have you now. Xiaobao will have a father. I will fulfill my responsibility as a father. I will also take care of you for the rest of my life. However, Gu Lingqing's wife will only be Baiya. I'm sorry. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He was very determined. Baiya treated you so well. She left you when you needed her the most and went to stay with Su Jiran. Why are you still thinking about her? I'm the one you need to take care of, am I not? Zhou Hailan said anxiously. Hailan, it's clearly stated in the agreement that whoever proposes to separate first will leave with nothing. I have 3 houses and 1.08 million in my personal savings. I will let my lawyer handle it. Gu Lingqing was determined. I don't want your houses or your savings. Ah, Qing, I'm wrong. I shouldn't have forced you. Let's cancel the agreement. I don't want Xiaobao to have no chance to see you because of my selfishness. Zhou Hailan compromised. After a moment of silence, Gu Lingqing said, thank you. However, let's follow the legal procedure. Don't worry. I will take good care of you and Xiaobao. I will also recognize Xiaobao's identity. That's it for now. I still have work to do. After speaking, Gu Lingqing hung up the phone. Zhou Hailan was so angry that he smashed his phone against the wall. 3 houses and 1.08 million yuan. Compared with the Gu's group, it was simply a drop in the bucket. She had more money than this. What was the use of it? Baiya, Gu Lingqing only had Baiya in his heart now. Except that Baiya was younger, prettier, and had a better figure, she really couldn't see what made Gu Lingqing like and infatuated with Baiya so much. She and her son couldn't stop him. There was also Su Jiran. He was also distracted by Baiya. Were all these men blind? What was so good about an iceberg? Chapter 272. Baiya got on the train back to City A. She looked out of the window. The sunlight was just right. It fell on the ground, and it was white. The green leaves were very green, the grass was very green, and the flowers were all kinds of colors. They were colorful and full of vitality. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Su Jiran kept looking at her. She smiled, and he also smiled. Time was peaceful. If he had realized his feelings for her earlier, perhaps, they would have been happy together, and there would have been 2 children. He held her hand. Baiya looked at him, and her gaze returned to its usual coldness. What's wrong? Are you hungry? Go to the restaurant and eat something. Don't be hungry. Su Jiran pulled her up. After his reminder, she realized that she was indeed a little hungry, so she followed him into the restaurant. Su Jiran ordered 2 40-yuan lunch boxes and 2 bottles of Coke. He placed them in front of her. Baiya opened the lid and lowered her head to eat. Are you still going to work at the research institute after you go back? Su Jiran asked. Yes. Baiya remembered that she still owed Mu Shaoxing a lot of cases. She had to pay off the debt before she could leave. I'll buy a house near your research institute. That way, you'll be closer to work. Cough, cough. Baya choked on her food. Su Jiran immediately opened the Coke bottle and handed it to Baya. She took it and drank a few mouthfuls. It seemed that men liked to buy houses for women. Gu Lingqing was one, and so was Su Jiran. I like to live in a hotel. Baya refused tactfully. Why? I can renovate the house into a hotel suite. You can tell me anything you need. Su Jiran was puzzled. I can enjoy the star-rated service of the hotel. I'll be there whenever I call. Besides. Baya paused and looked at Su Jiran. The hotel won't make me feel lonely. I will always be with you. I won't let you stay at home alone. I swear, Su Jiran said sincerely. Baya smiled. Then buy it and decorate it well. Anyway, it would take half a year for the renovations to be completed. Seeing that she agreed, Su Jiran was very happy. I will hire a housekeeper, a chef, and a few servants. This way, you will enjoy better service than the hotel. Baya didn't respond. He lowered his head and continued eating. They arrived at City A at 6:40 p.m. 2 hours earlier, Baya had called Lu Shuang. As they walked out of the station, Lu Shuang waved at Baya. Baya saw it and walked towards Lu Shuang. I'll stay at your place today. Is that convenient? Yes, it's convenient. You're always welcome. Lu Shuang looked at Su Jiran. Su Jiran looked at Baya. Then Xiaoya, have a good rest tonight. I'll contact you tomorrow. Baya nodded and got into the driver's seat. Lu Shuang sat in the passenger seat and looked at Baya with a smile. You came back to look for me. Baya drove. We'll talk about it when we get to your place. Have you eaten? Not yet. I'm waiting for you. Lu Shuang looked at Baya's serious face and felt guilty. He pulled on the seatbelt and looked at Baya again and again. Xiao Bai, I heard some gossip today. They said that you married Gu Lingqing and then something happened to Gu Lingqing, so you forced Gu Lingqing to divorce. Is that true? Lu Shuang didn't believe it. Baya didn't tell him that she was married to Gu Lingqing. It's true. Baya didn't deny it. Ha! You married Gu Lingqing. Why didn't you tell me? Lu Shuang was shocked. It happened so suddenly. My marriage and divorce weren't within my expectations. When I had time to settle down, it was already the ending today, Baya said calmly. So you're with Su Jiran now? Lu Shuang scratched his head in confusion. If it's just on the surface, then we're together. But if it's in our hearts, no. Baya didn't hide it. Lu Shuang pursed her lips and looked gloomily at the air in front of her. After a moment of silence, she said sadly, life is so magical. Enemies can become friends, friends can become enemies. People who love each other can become people who hate each other, and people who hate each other can become people who live together. People who hate each other can become people who live together. Baya's hand that was holding the steering wheel tightened. She glanced at Lu Shuang and her eyes flickered. She said tentatively, if you live with Shen Yan for the rest of your life, then I'd rather be single for the rest of my life. Before Baya could finish, Lu Shuang interrupted her. Baya's heart became heavy. She frowned. I met my junior high classmate last time. She even talked about Shen Yan. She said that he had changed 3 girlfriends this year. This guy, hee. Lu Shuang added. The word hee was filled with disdain and contempt for Shen Yan. At the red light, Baya stepped on the brake and looked at Lu Shuang. What are you going to do about the child? That. Lu Shuang evaded and finally said what he was thinking. I think it's good to have a child instead of a husband. What if the child's father isn't a good person? Baya said solemnly. The child is mine. It's mine alone. Who cares who the father is? Even if my child doesn't have a father, he won't lack love. Lu Shuang said with a smile. What if this is the child's father's deliberate plan? Baya continued. Lu Shuang paused. It can't be, right? Someone told me that the father of the child in your stomach is most likely Shinian. Baya said it out loud. She did not want to avoid it. Avoiding it would not solve any problem. The red light turned green. She drove forward. Lu Shuang's eyes widened. He looked at Baya in shock. How is that possible? I had sex with Shinian 3 years ago. How can I only get pregnant now? The person who had sex with you last time should be Shinian. You haven't been able to find a boyfriend for the past 3 years. It should be Shinian's doing, Baya explained. Lu Shuang could not stay calm. Is he crazy? He's so popular. Why is he making things difficult for a commoner like me? Is there something wrong with his brain? Why am I so unlucky? When she thought of Shinian, she shuddered. Her eyes turned red. She did not want to believe it. This was the worst outcome that she had not expected. She felt a chill down her spine. She looked at Baya. Xiao Bai, don't lie to me. You can't joke about this. I'm not joking with you, Baya said coldly. She sped up. Lu Shuang looked at Baya's serious expression. He felt a chill down his spine. When she knew that she was pregnant, she was quite happy. She thought that since she could not find a boyfriend and could not get married, having a child would not be bad. She would not be lonely when she was old. As for love, she was a little afraid when she saw how Baya behaved. However, the child was actually Shinian's. Chapter 273. She knew Shinian all too well. She and Shinian were classmates in primary school and junior high school. In junior high school, many boys and girls did not know what love was, but he was precocious. Every day, he would block the corridors with a large group of followers, and every time he passed a good-looking girl, he would start flirting. When she was in junior high, she was a little fat. Every time she passed the corridors, he would say, "Slow down, the floor is going to collapse. Halley's Comet is going to hit the earth if it sees you. Your face is like the scene of a car accident. Where did you buy your clothes? Can't you get a bigger size? The meat is bursting through the buttons." And so on. She had never met such a sharp-tongued person. Because of his presence, she had to go downstairs and bypass him every time she went to the bathroom. Because of the stress, she lost 40 pounds in junior high. To her, the second day of middle school was like hell on earth. The school was divided into liberal arts and science subjects. She chose science and was in the same class as Shinian. He sat behind her and bullied her every day, like putting snakes in her bag or mud in her cup. Because her hair was long and would sometimes touch his desk, he took a pair of scissors and cut her long hair, which she had been growing for several years, short in class. She was so angry that she cried for a few days. Things like this were too numerous to count. Fortunately, his father was later promoted and transferred to another state to be the governor, so he left the school. 3 years ago, she accidentally met him on a blind date, and both of them were drugged by Su Jiran. When he was still rational, he should have jumped out of the window and everything would have been fine. Not only did he not jump, but he also stopped her from jumping. In the end, he went straight in, and the pain made her want to explode. That scene was too intense. It was like a battle to the death. It was a mess. Just thinking about it made her feel uncomfortable. Xiao Bai, what should I do? Lu Shuang asked in fear. Don't keep the child. Find a better man to marry. I heard that Shani Yan's marriage was arranged. You and him will not end up together, Bai Yi suggested. Who wants to have a result with him? How could he be so evil? Did he purposely make me pregnant? Doesn't he know that it's harmful to the body to abort the child? Lu Shuang was having a headache. Maybe I've fallen for you. Him. Impossible, he just wants to tease me and kill me to satisfy his perverted fetish. This person is sick, beyond cure. I don't even have a boyfriend, no man will marry me. What's the use of being a nun? Lu Shuang really wanted to cry. Power. When Bai Yi said the word cumin, his eyes were filled with disgust. In this world, it's the law of the jungle. If you can't do your job well, you'll be replaced by others. If you're down and out in life, you'll be despised by others. Only the strong can do whatever they want, and others can't judge whether they're right or wrong. I've been unlucky for 8 lifetimes to get to know this idiot. It's an unexpected disaster. Xiao Bai, save me. I don't want to be pestered by this spoiled brat. He's a pervert, Lu Shuang begged for help. Bai Yi understood that Shani Yan was indeed despicable. He didn't have love, but he purposely made a woman pregnant with his child. This was too much of a beast. They arrived at Lu Shuang's apartment building. Bai Yi stopped the car. Lu Shuang was about to break down. He held his head and looked forward pitifully. His eyes were getting redder and redder. I heard that Shani Yan is a presidential candidate. If he succeeds in the election, will he play me to death? Bai Yi looked at Lu Shuang with sympathy. With Shuang Niu's broken personality, she might really not be able to hold on. If Shani Yan married Shuang Niu, it would be fine. At least there would be hope. As the first lady, she wouldn't be abandoned so easily. However, Shani Yan wouldn't marry her. Shuang Niu was loyal and kind-hearted, but she wasn't smart. She was by Shani Yan's side. Even if Shani Yan really liked her, she wouldn't be able to win against Shani Yan's other women. Don't worry. I'll think of a way. Bai Yi comforted him. You must think of a way. Shani Yan has been bad since he was young. He's even worse now that he's older. Lu Shuang was speechless. Okay. Bai Yi answered and accompanied Lu Shuang upstairs. Lu Shuang was no longer in the mood to eat dinner. Bai Yi sat next to Lu Shuang and thought about it. Su Jiran was the president's man. She asked Su Jiran for help, but Su Jiran refused. It seemed that the only person who could help her now was Gu Lingqing. However, it was obvious that Gu Lingqing was going to offend the future president. To her, Gu Lingqing and Lu Shuang were like the palm of her hand and the back of her hand. Why don't you go abroad? Bai Yi suggested. Okay, that's a good idea. I'll hide abroad for a few years. Maybe I can find a handsome guy. Lu Shuang agreed immediately. Get a visa first. You can't have the child after 49 days of pregnancy, Bai Yi said in a low voice. Lu Shuang's face turned pale. She really didn't dare to have Shani Yan's child. Although she had wanted to take good care of the baby from the beginning. Never fight against fate when things go against your will. You can never win. Bai Yi put her arm around Lu Shuang's shoulder. Go to the United States. I'll ask Mu Shaoxing to help you study abroad. I have some friends in the United States who can take care of you there. Lu Shuang nodded. You'll come to see me often. I'm afraid of being lonely. The word lonely made her feel sad. What if she died? Lu Shuang was Bai Yi's best friend. Bai Yi was Lu Shuang's best friend too. Bai Yi smiled and nodded. I will. She ordered takeout. The two of them ate at home and chatted casually. From clothes to celebrities, from celebrities to colleagues, and from colleagues to delicacies. The only thing they didn't talk about was their relationship. The two of them seemed to have a telepathic connection. They both skipped this question on purpose. It was dawn. Baya woke up naturally, and so did Lu Shuang. The two of them smiled. After breakfast, she took Lu Shuang to the research institute to ask Mu Shaoxing for help. Mu Shaoxing agreed readily. He contacted the university in the United States, and the university immediately sent him an admission notice. Go to the American embassy and write the application materials. Then, wait for the notice, Mu Shaoxing said to Lu Shuang. Thank you, Mu Shaoxing. I'll go and apply now. When it's done, I'll treat you to dinner, Lu Shuang said with a smile. I'll go with you. Bai Ye was worried. Okay. Lu Shuang hugged Bai Ye's arm. Bai Ye drove to the entrance of the American embassy. Lu Shuang got out of the car first. Bai Ye went to park the car. A black van stopped in front of Lu Shuang. The door opened. Two well-trained people got out of the van and carried Lu Shuang. Bai Ye! Lu Shuang exclaimed. Bai Ye vaguely heard Lu Shuang's voice. She looked towards the entrance of the American embassy. Chapter 274. Bai Ye's heart tightened and she shouted anxiously, Lu Shuang. The van drove away. Bai Ye quickly started the car again and chased after it. When the van got on the road, Bai Ye saw another van that looked exactly the same driving over. She was afraid of being confused, so she looked at the license plate of the van that kidnapped Lu Shuang. *2S345. When the van reached an intersection, 4 or 5 similar vans drove over from both sides. Bai Ye was anxious. This kidnapping seemed to be deliberate. She called 110 as she drove. Hello, I'm Bai Ye. My friend was kidnapped in front of the American embassy. Now the car that kidnapped her is on Wui Road. The license plate is *2S345. Please help to stop it. I'm following that van now. I'll let you know at any time. But, where is the car? The traffic light was about to turn red. Bai Ye was afraid that she would lose it, so she sped up. A van behind her stopped in front of her. It deliberately stopped at the traffic light so that the van in front could pass it first. Bai Ye knew that they were deliberately stopping her. She was too anxious, so she ran the red light and looked for the van with the license plate *2S345. 1 van, 2 vans, 3 vans. All the vans she saw had the license plate numbers of *2S345. There was another intersection in front of her. The van split into 3 roads. She was about to break down. She had no idea which van had Lu Shuang in. She could only follow one of the vans closely. At least, they were in cahoots. She said to the police, there are more than 10 *2S345 vans on the road. I don't know which one of them has my friend in it. I'm following one now. They are all in cahoots. Please set up a roadblock and stop one of them. We've registered it. We're going to apply to our superiors now. We'll inform you later, the police said. Bai Ye smashed the car horn angrily. There were many regulations in Country A, and the procedures were troublesome. By the time they applied, Lu Shuang might be in trouble. She thought for a while and tried to calm herself down. The angrier she was, the more useless it was. She hung up and called Su Jiran. Xiao Ye. You're awake. Shall we have lunch together? Su Jiran asked. Su Jiran, I need your help. Lu Shuang was kidnapped in front of the U.S. Embassy. She was in the van with the license plate *2S345, but there were more than 10 vans with the license plate *23345. They were all the same, and I didn't know which one had Lu Shuang. However, they are definitely in cahoots. I'm following one of them now. Can you help me stop it? Baiya asked anxiously. Even if we stop him, there's no evidence, Su Jiran said in a low voice. At least I know who took Lu Shuang away. Shen Yiyan. Su Jiran said with certainty, Shen Yiyan's men have been following Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang must have angered Shen Yiyan by going to the U.S. Embassy, so his men came to take Lu Shuang away. But don't worry, Lu Shuang will be fine. Baiya felt a chill run down her spine, and her face turned pale. Lu Shuang worshipped freedom the most. Shen Yiyan's behavior was equivalent to kidnapping and imprisoning him. Can you help me save Lu Shuang? Baiya asked. Su Jiran was silent. Jiran, Lu Shuang is my only friend. I can't let anything happen to her, Baiya said again. I'm afraid she can't be taken away by Shen Yiyan. Since Su Jiran said so, she couldn't leave Lu Shuang alone. She couldn't get over it. Anyway, her life had been ruined. She was willing to use her broken life to exchange for Lu Shuang's light. If you can save Lu Shuang, I can do whatever you want. Her hint was clear enough. Su Jiran was so smart. He should understand. She is in Shen Yiyan's place. She can't be saved. Shen Yiyan has more secret chambers than I do. But, Xiaoya, don't worry too much. Shen Yiyan won't hurt her. I promise, if there's a chance, I'll let you meet Lu Shuang. Baiya hung up the phone angrily and pulled over. Su Jiran said he loved her. Was that love? He was afraid of offending Shen Yiyan and the president. After all, he was the most important person in Su Jiran's heart. He only cared about himself and didn't care about others. That was why he had injected the virus into her body without mercy. She knocked on the car again and the shrill honk rang in her ears. It was as if she was venting all her anger. Someone knocked on the car window. Baiya let go and lowered the window. It was a middle-aged woman. Are you crazy? Why are you honking? You're disturbing everyone, the middle-aged woman scolded with her hands on her waist. Baiya didn't say anything and just closed the window. The middle-aged woman didn't feel satisfied yet. Seeing Baiya's bad attitude, she knocked on the window again. Baiya started the car. Seeing that Baiya was about to leave, the middle-aged woman kicked the car door hard. Get out. You want to run away after doing something wrong. That's what your mother taught you. Baiya's eyes flashed. She pushed the car door open and got out. She said sternly, your mother taught you to destroy other people's cars. Yo, you were the one who honked and disturbed the passers-by. Now you're in the right. The middle-aged woman widened her eyes. Indeed, there's no point in arguing with unreasonable people. You can get lost now. Baiya went to open the car door. The middle-aged woman flew into a rage and pulled Baiya's hair. Baiya instantly felt her hair go numb. Apologize, you be *tch. The middle-aged woman scolded. Baiya grabbed the middle-aged woman's hair and pulled it down with great force. The middle-aged woman was in so much pain that she was about to cry. She said sternly, let go. Baiya used more force. You started it. Why should I let go? The middle-aged woman screamed in pain. I'll let go first, then you. She let go. Baiya pushed her away. Get lost. You be *tch. The middle-aged woman wanted to rush over again. Baiya took the safety hammer from Lu Shuang's car. The middle-aged woman stopped. She looked at the hammer in Bai Ya's hand, then looked at Bai Ya. How dare you? If you don't disappear in 3 seconds, I'll see if I dare. Bai Ya said sharply. The middle-aged woman saw that Bai Ya didn't seem to be lying, so she ran away dejectedly. Bai Ya returned to the car and threw the safety hammer in the front passenger seat. After the fight, she calmed down. It was useless to be irritable and angry. She dialed Gu Lingqing's number. Gu Lingqing picked up and said uncertainly, Xiaoya. I'll go to Blue Sky Courtyard now. Let's meet him, Bai Ya said in a low voice. All right, I'll go now. See you later. Gu Lingqing agreed immediately. Bai Ya stared into the distance. The sunlight fell on the mist in her eyes, reflecting the sparkling light. She wanted to never have anything to do with him. Chapter 275. Bai Ya bought a pair of jeans, a cap, and a black tracksuit with a hat in the mall. Then she went to a nearby hotel and booked a room. She took a shower in the room and changed into the new clothes. She put on the cap, the tracksuit, and a pair of black-rimmed glasses. The baby didn't take them on purpose. He just took the room card and 600 yuan in cash. She didn't drive. She took a taxi and said in a low voice, "Go to Blue Sky Villa." It took her more than 40 minutes to get to Blue Sky Villa from where she lived. When she arrived, Gu Lingqing wasn't there yet. She stood at the door for about half an hour. A black Hummer drove over. Gu Lingqing stopped the car in front of her and got out. He came alone. Xiaoya, what's wrong? Gu Lingqing was worried and looked at her face. Let's talk after we go in. Bai Ya nodded and glanced at the house. Gu Lingqing opened the door. Bai Ya went in, took a deep breath, turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. There's one thing I want to ask for your help. If you promise. Bai Ya paused. She really didn't expect that one day, she would use herself as a reward. It was hard to say the following words. If I promise. Gu Lingqing stared at Bai Ya with burning eyes. She lowered her eyes. She thought of Lu Shuang's safety. Her life was ruined and she couldn't live for long. She should at least protect one of them. Besides, Bai Ya had feelings for Gu Lingqing. She made up her mind, raised her head, and looked straight at Gu Lingqing. If you agree, I'll be the woman behind your back for 3 months. I remember I promised to help you with the psychological test for the soldiers, and it's also exactly 3 months. Gu Lingqing lifted her chin. Bai Ya didn't move. She was so nervous that she didn't even breathe. He kissed her lightly on the lips and looked into her eyes lovingly. Even if you don't have any conditions, I will do whatever you want me to do. Bai Ya's heart seemed to have been struck by something, trembling violently. No wonder Bai Ya liked him. Indeed, this man had great charisma. However, she was an ominous person. It seemed that she had harmed him again. Bai Ya seriously pushed Gu Lingqing's hand away. Listen to me first, then consider whether you want to help or not. Say it, what do you want me to do? His tone was very firm, as if no matter what she said, he would agree. This matter would affect his future. Suddenly, she didn't want to say it. Lu Shuang and Gu Lingqing were both people she wanted to protect. However, it seemed that for one of them, she would kill the other. She had to think again. Bai Ya looked away. Gu Lingqing turned her face so that she was facing him. He looked into her eyes firmly. Trust me. Trust him. Gu Lingqing was so powerful. He was brave, smart, and responsible. She believed in him. However, some selfishness and reluctance made her not want him to take the risk. But Lu Shuang, he was her only friend. How could she bear to do that? Gu Lingqing, if you offend the president, what will happen? Baiya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing's eyes flickered slightly, and he looked at her deeply. He understood her personality too well. She was testing him, just like when she was in the dungeon, testing him. Would he be released? He was sure that what she was talking about was related to the president. Nothing much, it doesn't matter, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya had hope, but she was not so relieved. She probed again, are you sure he won't make things difficult for you? The president intends to let his son take over the position of the president. A young man who is still young will be impeached when he comes to power. With my position, he won't dare to touch me, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. What if he is young? Baiya was worried. The president will be elected every 4 years. I promise you, the president after 4 years will be me. I will stand at the top, and no one can shake my position, Gu Lingqing promised. Baiya's eyes were misty, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. 4 years later, she would be gone, right? He had made so many sacrifices for her, but she couldn't be with him forever. 3 months was probably the maximum deadline. She felt that Gu Lingqing wasn't worth it, so she was pitiful. She stood on tiptoe, her lips touching his, and closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing looked down at her. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, like a feather fan, teasing his heart. Gu Lingqing hugged her waist and pulled her to his side, hugging her very tightly. He had finally waited for her. God knows how he spent the days when she was not by his side. He was in a state of madness almost every day, unable to control his temper and emotions. His heart was heavy, and when he woke up with pain. He missed her to the point where he could not control himself. He ran to see her, wanting to break open her head and see her heart. Then, he would point at her heart and say to Baiya, look, you love me. Gu Lingqing closed his eyes and deepened the kiss. He was careful, as if he was protecting a treasure. Different from that night, he was so gentle that he wanted to melt her. She did not know who started it first. The two of them twirled and tangled, and Gu Lingqing turned on the air conditioner. His clothes seemed to be taken off by her. He also took off her clothes, pants, and put her on the sofa. The moment he wanted to kiss her, she became nervous, held his arm tightly, and looked into his dark eyes. He looked back at her. She saw herself in his eyes, and there was a hint of confusion and panic. Was it right or wrong for her to do this? Was it redemption or a predestined fate? Was it to make up for it or sink deeper? She did not know, so she was afraid. When Gu Lingqing kissed her, it was light, but when he entered, it was heavy. Just like the impression he gave people, he was strong and powerful. The pain brought an indescribable joy, and the initial running in became a wonderful state of communication. She no longer felt pain, and she no longer let her imagination run wild. The days she spent with him were so precious, and every day that passed was one day less. She wanted to show her most dazzling self in front of him. Even if she died, she would have no regrets. When she came out, she hugged him tightly and rested her face on his shoulder. The hug closed the distance between their hearts, but the other party could not see the expression on their faces. Baiya could not help but cry. She could not bear to leave Gu Lingqing. When Baiya hypnotized herself, in fact, she should have hypnotized her feelings for Gu Lingqing, and she should have blocked her own memory, so that she would become more indifferent, just a tool to complete the task. Was it her? From the beginning to the end, she could not bear to leave Gu Lingqing. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.